What are we calling the show this year?
This is the Patriots Pregame Show, presented by Dunkin.
Patriots Chinwag, Patriots Before the Game Show.
Jones, he's throwing it toward Portland, left corner of the end zone, caught, touchdown New England.
Hey, it's the Patriots.
Patriots Pregame Show is your source for all the latest news and information before every game.
He tucked it to the house again.
Here we
and
go.
The Patriots take the lead.
With Hardy,
Let's talk to Roy in Delaware. Hey, let's go to Delaware.
Mike Dussault,
You got to be smart to be a smartass.
I guess.
Okay.
I'm not smart, I'm a dumbass is what I am.
Paul Perillo,
Let me throw this out there. We don't mind on this.
something?
Before we get to the fun,
Sure.
I mean, who likes fun more than me?
and Tamara Brown.
Daniel Jones is drafted. I'm like, did y'all only draft him because he looked like Eli? Like, I'm so confused.
Patriots Nation, welcome to the Patriots Pregame Show, presented by Dunkin.
I can't wait. All right, welcome in, Patriots Pregame Show for the third and final preseason contest between. See, now Mike Dussault has been in here celebrating the anniversary of the release date of the fine film, the John Cusack vehicle, Better Off Dead.
Vehicle.
Vehicle, and recreating the impersonation of Howard Cosell, and I'm going to have that on my brain all night long.
Good.
All
That's going to
night
help us. That's
long.
going to be our crutch. Maybe instead of 2 mentions of Jaws tonight, we'll have 2 mentions of Better Off Dead.
That would be great.
But Paul's out on this and I doubt Tamara's seen it either. So
I guarantee
just the two of us.
I think the movie came out before Tamara was alive. It
Oh,
had
for
to have
sure.
been.
I'm quite
By
cer-
15 years.
Of course.
Quite certain of that.
She wasn't
No,
even
no
close.
way.
We're all jealous, is all we're saying. Okay, Tamara?
She wasn't even a glint.
I look at somebody like full of hope and promise and have their whole lives and careers ahead of them, and I feel such disdain and,
I was
and
thinking
anger.
I was thinking envy.
Toward
But you
them.
could go disdain.
No,
Excitement.
I really, I resentment. Yeah, that's a good word.
Resentment.
I resent.
How dare you be young?
Wistful.
No,
Ooh.
no.
Remembering of
He's going down the crossword
days
roads
gone
now.
by.
Let's start with Tamara. How are you, Tamara?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. So action.
I don't think she's great. I
No.
said some sarcasm there.
Right.
Well, just because I said
Right.
because I started the show by saying I resented her very existence. You got to have a thick skin in this business. Better you learn it now.
I think
Old Man River.
I think it's just more of like I'm sick of the preseason.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Imagine if we had 2 more games to go.
Oh,
I'm oddly
pain.
like energized and optimistic about this Patriots team, and we'll get into why. And it has nothing to do with this game tonight. I am in lockstep with you that the preseason is largely folly, but there are a lot of good position battles going on tonight, a lot of good roster battles going on tonight.
Battles.
There are a lot of things to look for, but I think we can treat this as kind of a looky-loo toward the regular season too.
Yeah.
You
well,
know?
What a word.
I don't know what that means exactly.
Looky-loo.
Because I don't think there's anything going on tonight that's going to maybe be a looky-loo to the regular season.
No,
It's
I'm
gonna
just
be a
saying we
bunch
can
of-
talk
a
about
bunch
the
of
regular.
backups.
We
Oh,
can
I gotcha,
talk about
I
the
gotcha,
regular
I
season.
gotcha.
If
I'm
you
on.
want to
Yeah,
talk about
I'm with
this
you on that
game
one.
for 2 hours, have a good night,
No,
folks.
No, like
you're right. You're
no
right.
one wants to talk about the game itself, but I do think you're right. I think there'll be some bubble guys to watch tonight.
Yeah.
And beyond that, like just the roster breakdowns,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's it.
All that stuff.
I
That's it.
will say something I'm really excited to tonight is seeing Mapu because we have not seen him play in a preseason game yet.
Okay.
That's exciting.
Let's get to that in a couple of minutes. We're actually gonna do things in the order we're supposed to do them.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
week, as
Okay.
opposed to last week
That
when I
sounds good.
screwed everything up by doing the keys to the game.
Unbelievable.
Why did you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to.
You've waited all week for it.
The whole team's in the locker room right now, just listening to this, waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Without these keys, the Patriots are destined and doomed to fail.
Here are Hardy, Paul, Mike, and Tamara's keys to the game.
Why did I steal your key to the game also?
All right, keys to the game. Without these keys, the Patriots could. Oh, this is a must-win tonight. The third preseason is a must-win game for.
Let's win.
I think
for
it
this
is.
team.
It's now or never. The preseason's over. You lose this game.
If you
Yeah,
lose
that's
this
it.
game, you finish with a losing record.
That's right. Nobody wants that.
No one wants that.
Especially not the Ravens.
How did it get? What was the official record of the Green Bay game? Did the Patriots
Win.
get the
I think
They get a
21 to
win.
17.
Did they get
got,
the
They got
win?
the dub.
They did.
Pulled
Okay.
it out. They pulled it out. They hung on.
It was considered a win.
Okay, all right.
Yo quiero a win.
So let's begin in the order in which they are on this piece of paper in
Oh.
front of me. Keys to the game, starting with Mike Dussault.
Yeah, and they got the right one this week. So I didn't try to be a little silly with Hardy and Ryman, but last chance to pop. Just want to see maybe a new face, maybe somebody, show something we haven't seen yet. There'll be some guys on the bubble, like Paul said, that'll, maybe get a chance to play a bunch. It doesn't sound like a lot of the starters are going to play, so I don't want to eat into Paul's, but I think that there's definitely something there. Love to see maybe one of those big guys up front, have maybe a game that makes you think. I mean, what are you going to learn? But maybe just a little bit of positivity. Somebody shows something. Keon White, Pop Douglas, those guys have kind of shown a little bit, and Marde Mapu, maybe it's him.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I want to talk
Last
more
chance.
about Mapu later in terms of his role. And
Talk about your poo on the old time.
With my poo.
Sorry,
Oh
we're getting
my
punchy
God.
already here.
Paul,
oh my God, you're an absolute
Did you like
caution,
I did
Michael.
like that. I don't think anyone's caught that. but
Samara
me.
gets me.
It's fine.
It's my styling.
I'll save it for later.
Paul, what is your key?
My key is the offensive line, and I know that there's still a lot of moving parts in terms of injuries. Good sign that we saw Micah Wenyu back on the practice field. Hopefully he has enough time to be ready for week 1, and he can get out there. But if he's not, some of the guys, and I said this last week, that are playing now, might have to be part of the offensive line at least on a temporary basis at the start of the season. So I would like to see that come together a little bit more cohesively than it was last week. I thought it started off okay, and then it gradually got worse. Then Trent Brown left the game, and obviously Stuber gets beat for the strip sack, and that ended Mac Jones's night. And I think part of that is the reason why we're not going to see Mac Jones tonight, which I disagree with, but I think it might have something to do with it, according to some of the people in the know on the Twitter machine, or sorry, X, talking about the personnel usage. So I'd like to see the offensive line, some of those Antonio Mafi, City So, Riley Reef at guard. I'd like to see it come together a little bit better, just in case some or all of those guys are needed come week 1.
Okay, well, that plays right into the first part of my multi-tiered key to the game, which, since they are playing in the Music City, mine is Moo Sick Sit E. All right, now you see where I'm going with all this?
Are you quoting somebody? What is that?
Music City.
Oh,
Music City. I thought it had something to do with the pig in
city
an urban
sound.
setting.
Moo Sick
That's
Sit E.
I think
that's
it's
City So.
I think it's actually an urban crocheter now, Paul, because it's
Right.
not a sow,
Yeah.
it's a so.
Needlepoint.
Do you know what Moo stands for?
The
What
Omega
ti-
Moose?
No,
Cow.
what? We're lambda, and Omega Moo.
The words are simple. It's I gotta be me, I gotta be free.
So I say I gotta be me. You too. You.
Moo refers to what Tom Brady once called his his offensive
Yes,
lineman.
that
Get over here and protect me, you fat cows.
Oh,
Yeah, that is correct.
that's
That was
rude.
a direct quote.
That is a direct quote what Tom Brady once said to his offensive
Dan
lineman.
Copeland
So
was not happy.
is that true?
Oh yeah.
Got fat
Oh, wow.
shamed.
Okay,
It's
I didn't
Come
know.
on, that's not cool. Not cool at all.
So the Moo refers to, yes, let's see some progress on the offensive line. I
Got
love
it.
that.
Okay.
Sick. Let's be mindful of the guys who are going to come down with the Foxborough flu here. This is the time of year. Am I right or am I right?
There's a lot.
Guys,
There's a lot to
level,
this.
there's layers.
There's a lot to
There's
this one.
layers.
And
The
then
subtext.
In the cities.
and then Sit E. I have no idea if Ezekiel Elliott's going to be playing any football,
E.
but why not just keep him in bubble wrap so he doesn't get hurt? Moo Sick, Sit E. Music City.
Wow.
That's what you see. There's
You
no
were really
off
on one
position
today.
on the genius switch. It's on. Morrell says we need keys to the game a couple of days ago, and I'm like,
Boom.
Moo Sick City. What does that mean, Hardy? I don't know. I'll figure it out by 5:45 on Friday. And look at that.
You sure
Boom.
did. A lot
I
of
would
layers.
just like to be a fly on the wall in your brain. So
Oh, God.
what is happening?
There's a lot of room to move around.
There's quite a few flies in there.
Graphics guy said, "What does Hardy's key mean?" I said, "I don't know, but he says it makes sense."
Yeah.
And
He probably
he
didn't know
just pulled
until
it
5
together.
minutes ago.
Where's our graphics guy now? Does he want to apologize? I mean, does
Yeah,
he
you
wanna-
get it now, huh? Now you get it.
He said no.
Okay. It's
Okay.
fair
So,
and understandable. All right, Tamara, your key to the game tonight.
My key to the game tonight is let's get this show on the road. Let's just finish the game. No injuries, no chaos. Just get it done so we can get into the regular season. Like, no one wants to talk about the preseason anymore. We're over it.
we're
So
over it.
what is
We're over it.
what is the show?
The season, the real season.
Oh.
Let's get this show on the road.
Okay. All right. I see.
We're wasting time.
Okay. Well, there's
Especially if the starters really aren't playing tonight. It's just like,
Not
let's
for
get
them,
the show
Tamara.
on the
They're fighting
road.
for a job. They could be out of work in 3 days.
Have a heart.
Have a heart.
It is a pregame show.
It gets me to laugh
You're in
every
jail.
time.
There are, believe it or not, there are tens of people listening and watching right now.
Tens and tens of people.
I don't know. Some of them have been weighing in on Better Off Dead already. Well, I mean, not one, and it's our webmaster, but someone is weighing in on it.
Well, and it's a relative, but still. Tamara, I'm with
I'll
you
get
though.
to you later,
This
Dad.
this whole preseason, and it weighs on me every year. But I was having the discussion with somebody. I said, look, I think the best we're ever going to get is adding a regular season game, then taking away a preseason game, maybe doing. And this was my idea that I came up. You do the first week of training camp at home. You do the second week in joints. Everybody does a joint.
I'm in on that for sure.
Hey. Every team has joint practices with another team, right? And then you get the. Oh my goodness gracious!
I'm posting. Our
Okay.
show is live.
Then you get that that buffer week before the regular season starts. There you go. So there's only 2 of these. I truly question the value in these games, other than guys who, and far be it from me to take away an opportunity for a guy to get a job. I understand that part of it. I do not believe that the coaches need this game or 3 of them to identify who can contribute to their football team. I'm sure they can do it in 2. My guess is they could do it in 1, and something tells me they could do it with none.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do? How do you just go into the season playing games? I don't know. It's not baseball. You don't need to warm up your arm for a month. It's not. Seriously, it's not hockey. It's a different sport. You go from the sport itself is all about going from 0 to 60 all the time. That's how the game is played.
Yeah.
So why can't you? Why can't you play the regular season like that? Camp, a week of joint practices with somebody, get some real hitting in and get some competition, and then you go.
Yeah.
You just start playing games.
I think Paul had a pretty good suggestion this week on PU. You're like kind of staggered weeks maybe, and
Well,
1
I
and
was
3
wondering
maybe?
if you guys are right, Fred and you are on the same page. It's going to be 2, right? It's going to be 2 eventually in 18 regular season games. So I would keep it the way it is starting week 1, the same week now, like August 15th-ish, and then go 2 weeks and have the second game with, so you could have joint practices with somebody if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Or, maybe even 2 separate joint practices if you want, however you wanted to do it. So you go week 1 and then like week 3, and then you still have that 2-week buffer.
Oh,
or
I see.
10, 11-day buffer between the last preseason game and the regular season.
All right.
Because we were wondering, if you went down to 2 games, would you push everything back, so it goes like week 2 and week 3 is now? Or would you do it week 1 and week 2, and then there's a long gap for the regular season? I don't know. I don't know what you would do, because my guess is they're going to keep the start of the regular season where it is, the week after Labor Day.
They don't want to mess around with
They
Labor
don't want
Day.
to play on Labor Day.
No.
Which I don't know how the NFL played for so many years on Labor Day weekend. It didn't fall apart, but they will not go back to that.
We'll
never go back.
Well, I think there
Over
are
Macho Grande?
never over Macho Grande. I think there's too many places now, and I don't want to get into any kind of a climate change discussion, but it does seem like there's too many places in the north that play outside where it's just a little too warm to be playing football outside in August or early September.
Yeah.
And if that continues to be the trend, the last thing they want to do is put a game that matters earlier on the schedule. I mean, for all we know, it could be 90 degrees on Labor Day weekend, and you don't want to be playing football on that if you don't have to.
Yeah, maybe we can
Depends on where you are, because right now, the past couple of days here have felt like fall.
If you're in
She's
Miami.
not happy about it. Yeah. Well, that's it, right? Miami.
Hot.
Maybe we could do no
Always.
games in September in Florida too. That would,
Yeah,
keep it
there
cool.
was a year, I want to say one of the Pete Carroll years, maybe 97, 98, where they opened on August 31st. The first
wow.
game was August 31st. Don't check it. Just believe me.
I love
I will tell you,
That'd
they
be in
beat
6 days.
They beat San Diego.
San Diego.
I want to say like bad.
And if we
41-17 7.
So if we do
If only there were a way I could look that up.
You'll never know.
if we do bump out the regular season to 18 games and we don't start earlier, we just go later. Do we get that Super Bowl of President's Day weekend leading into that Monday holiday?
That wouldn't be bad.
That'd be amazing.
You
That's
guys are
a nice
really looking
thing.
for that, huh? What do you think?
I mean, I honestly think the NFL would be against it because
Practically March.
I think they get a lot of play on that Monday after the Super Bowl being a business day for most people. And
August
people talking
31st,
about it,
1997.
How are you going to say don't check it and you checked it?
41-7.
Look, we can argue about this later, but we have to go behind enemy lines.
Let's go.
Come on.
You know the view from New England,
We go behind enemy lines.
but what about the view from the other side?
And that's why you're our favorite pregame show guest every year.
You guys know you tell everybody that.
Oh, yeah?
I was on with you guys in 2018 Thursday Night Football.
Yep.
And I was told I was the favorite guest of the show.
Nope.
No.
Time now to go behind enemy lines.
My God, it's coming right for us!
Joining us now, Teresa Walker with the AP at Teresa M. Walker on Twitter. Excuse me, X. Here with Hardy, Mike Dussault, Tamara, and Paul Perillo. Teresa, how are you?
I'm good. Let's just say that I'm sitting in my car on the AC before I have to make the walk across the very, very hot parking lot here in Nashville, where it's hovering around 100 degrees.
Wow.
And that's not counting what it feels like right now.
We were just.
So it's a bad time to probably tell Teresa that it's 30 degrees cooler here.
Yes. Yeah, but it's crummy here. You don't want to trade places with us. It's funny. We were just having the conversation about, the regular season and what happens if it gets extended to 18 and they take away one of these preseason games. Playing any earlier in the season would be detrimental in a lot of climates. It sounds, especially in places like Nashville.
Well, at least for the next couple of years. Remember, the Tennessee Titans are going to be breaking ground next spring-ish on a new stadium that's going to be enclosed, so they'll have AC, so that'll make it a little bit more bearable. They're targeting 27 to have that building open, but, certainly for the next 4 years, it would, if that happens, it will be hot. And, I'm really glad I'm going to be in the press box tonight, because, guys, they're also debuting their new artificial surface, and I'm really curious to see what that does to the temperature, the feels like down on the field.
Ugh. When joint practices got canceled, that was like the first thing I thought, because when we were up here, it was like one day, I think Wednesday, Thursday, it was like 114, Stacy said down there at the time. So glad we missed out on that. But just curious, Teresa, DeAndre Hopkins, the Patriots, a lot of fans were clamoring for him. He ended up with the Titans. Just how has he looked this summer, and what do you feel like he's brought to the Titans?
Well, let's put it this way. He has been a godsend. The Titans probably needed him more than anybody else. I'm sorry. But the chemistry, you can see it really building between him and Ryan Tannehill over the last 2 weeks particularly. This is a guy who just has really great hands. Dave McGinnis, who coached in this league for a long time, works for Titans radio these days. He referred to them as bear traps. That it's been fun to watch. Now, the sad thing is Traylon Burks got hurt last week in joint practices with Minnesota, so that burgeoning chemistry and that option on the other side, we'll see if he's back in time for the start of the season in a couple of weeks. But he has been everything I think Titans fans had hoped for. And this is a fan base that saw Julio Jones come in and just kind of be a whimper and a blip and he's hardly around. Randy Moss played half a season or so in 2010 here at the end of his career. Andre Johnson made a brief appearance. His biggest catch, I think, was a touchdown that helped them win in Detroit. So there's been a lot of receivers come here at the end, you would think. And DeAndre Hopkins, he looks to have quite a bit of a chip on his shoulder, determined to prove, no, I'm not done yet.
Teresa, do you think that the Titans have seen enough of their starters in training camp and that one set of joint practices, or do you think that they'll play their starters tonight?
It looks like Ryan Tannehill's going to be starting tonight. Now, the question is how much do they risk him? Because, Will Levis, he's a guy that I really would like to have seen more of this preseason, but he's got a quad injury that kept him out of last week's preseason game in Minnesota completely. He didn't get it back on the practice field till Wednesday. So it's like that's a kid that, honestly he was starting to really make some strides and then got hurt. So now, me personally, after what this team has done, nobody in the NFL has had more players used because of injuries over these last 2 seasons than the Tennessee Titans. I would want to have Tannehill, DeAndre Hopkins, you name it, in bubble wrap and just put them away until September 10th when they open at New Orleans. They're not going to listen to me, though. So we'll see how much we actually do see Ryan Tannehill, maybe a Series 2. I can't imagine he's out there in the second quarter at all.
Don't you hate when they don't listen to us?
Exactly.
We have all the answers. I don't know why they don't take our advice any more often, Teresa. But just overall, the Titans, I kind of feel like are in a similar spot as the Patriots. With some transition sort of coming. I'm just curious your thoughts overall. You mentioned Tannehill will play tonight. Do you think he will be the starter throughout the season? I know, they have Levis, they have Willis. Do you think he will be the guy for the rest of the way, or is it just a sort of a seat, keeping the seat warm at this point?
Well, at this point, the job is his. The only way that Levis or Willis end up on the field is if there's an injury or it's mop-up duty. I mean, Ryan Tannehill missed 5 games last season because of an ankle. He had surgery to fix that. He stuck around all offseason to make sure he healed up. He is in the final year of his current contract, just turned 35 before training camp opened. And he's a guy who, look at Aaron Rodgers, the way Tom Brady. He's a guy who's got to be thinking, if I'm not playing here next year, I need to be playing somewhere. So, and the Titans, let's be honest, they need him. The one thing that has been a constant under Mike Vrabel, they have always been playing for a playoff spot. In the last game of their season, the first 5 years, they have been a playoff spot has been on the line. So they are not targeting rebuild at this point. They are targeting playoffs. And the easiest way, let's face it, in the AFC South is win this division and get in. Your biggest competition is the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that they were 3 minutes away from beating with a guy that they signed around Christmas time, and they still nearly won, except for a ball got knocked loose, scooping a score. Different quarterback in there may have gotten the call that the arm was going forward. So this is a team that they think they've got a lot of guys in contract years. Ryan Tannehill is the guy that they want to be playing as much as possible.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the AFC South. There was a much talked about breakdown of the divisions, and with the AFC East being, kind of thrown around as being the toughest. In the AFC South, you're looking at one of those divisions. It's like, I don't want to say it's the easiest or contains the least amount of talent. I prefer to think of it as the most gettable, with teams in that division thinking, it's not out of the question to think that you got a chance there, and the Titans have to be thinking that probably as much as, like you said, Jacksonville.
Absolutely. Think about it. There's 4 teams. 2 of them have rookie head coaches, rookie quarterbacks that are going to be starting. I know that Houston hasn't quite pulled the plug and said that C.J. Stroud definitely is their starter yet, but let's face it, Anthony Richardson's already been announced as starter in Indianapolis. But you've got Trevor Lawrence, who is going into his second season with Doug Peterson as the coach. So it seems like this is a 2-team fight for the division title. And, let's just put it this way. Derrick Henry runs a lot and runs really well over 2 teams, the Texans and the Jaguars. And the regular season finale this year is Jacksonville in Nashville, where they have won just twice since 2011. So it's going to come down to these 2 teams in this division, and I'm going to if the Titans can stay healthy, something I've said last year, and that didn't work out. But if they can stay kind of healthy, then they should have a chance to be playing for that title at the end of the regular season. I
have one final question for you, Therese, before we let go. Slightly off topic. Paul referred to his brother-in-law several times today. This is a man who is married to Paul's wife's sister. This is a man married to Paul's sister-in-law. I said, he's not your brother-in-law. What do you say, Teresa?
I say no. You now down south we count that as kin,
Yes.
Not blood relatives. And
Yes.
There is a difference.
Thank you.
Well, my
Thank you.
sister-in-law is not my blood relative.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Teresa, best call ever. Thank you so much. You were my new favorite guest on
now
the show.
I know why
Thank
they don't
you.
listen to you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right, Teresa M.
Thank you
Walker
very
on
much.
Twitter. Very good. With the Associated Press. Thanks, Teresa.
It's your kin, Paul. You can say
It's
that
my
for now.
kin.
It's my kin.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
I knew it. We're going to talk about this a lot more later.
I can't wait.
I want to get.
You want to bookmark that one.
I want to get to the phone calls. I want to make sure we have enough. I don't know if we're going to have enough time for all of this. We got to get to the over-unders sometime in the next hour and 35 minutes.
I love Hardy's energy right now.
Right?
I need you to inject
Right?
it into the rest of us.
I got a little nap.
Yeah.
Just a little 5.
Did you take a little nap?
little power
You
nap.
shut
her
I had a
down?
wonderful
Oh.
shower.
Yeah. Oh, I
That's
had
about
a
it.
shower and a shave.
These two guys were golf buddies today. They've already had a whole
Oh.
9 rounds and 9 holes on the course
Yeah.
together.
That's cute.
Walked and
The
carried.
plan was 18, but
The
I-
weather.
the weather
Cap
did
off
not
to you guys with that
cooperate.
rain today. That was
It was
impressive.
tough.
But you found the window. You're seasoned professionals.
Hardy
You have-
found a window.
He's got a radar.
He told
on
me
his
he
phone.
found a window, and
He's like, now,
gosh
tee off.
darn it, he did.
I was like Denzel in Flight. I'm like, there's our window right there. And power up, punch right through. It went bad after that, but that was not his fault.
Oh yeah,
It was not pilot error.
I didn't see that movie.
You didn't see
It's-
Flight?
No.
It's really good. He's
I love
so
the way he
good.
drank, like the way he would behind the back with the nips, the drinks. Oh,
Oh, did it give you some ideas?
awesome.
There's like a terrifying plane crash in that, right? Like you're on the inside of the plane crash. Like I don't really
Yeah.
want those visuals in my brain.
Well, he kind of avoids it.
Oh, no, that plane crashes.
Yeah.
I mean, spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, how long ago did that movie come out? 15 years?
Oh, no, not that long. I'm going to
10?
say 7 at the most.
It was away.
No, again,
Anybody
no better
want?
off.
Paul's Googling it. Don't worry.
Google.
I bet I can Google it faster than Paul. 2012.
Whoa.
11 years.
That was super
11.
fast.
Okay. All right.
11.
Now we go. These go.
Yeah.
These things go
Yeah,
down.
I'm good.
These things go down.
They can't go up. It's too big. Let's go to the phones. We'll go to Cousin Patty in Agawam to lead us off, per usual, on the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin. Hello, Pat.
Hey guys, what's going on?
How you doing?
Hey,
I had
Patty.
a question. I don't know if you guys covered this because my life's hectic, and I'm trying to manage my house and it's a mess. But why do you think the Patriots didn't try to go after Joshua Jones? Because I mean, I think we all see what the product with the offensive line, and it hasn't been good. Like there's no depth. Even I would have given a 4th-round pick and don't pick swap me for this guy. So I apologize if you haven't covered that, but what do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think he was gettable, obviously, for the compensation, but
But do we know that they didn't?
yeah,
Has there been any reports that the Patriots weren't interested?
Not that we've heard. Not what we've heard. So I don't know. I mean, I guess, I can't say that this is a great reason, but I think if Calvin Anderson was close and you feel like you're suddenly going to get a tackle back, and maybe you want to see with the guy that you invested in this offseason, but that's the only explanation I could think of, is because we've all felt like, I mean, they had to put Bill Murray at tackle last week. Like they're scraping the bottom of the barrel with
Yeah,
depth right
I mean,
now.
on the surface, and we talked about Josh Jones on Thursday, I think, or no, on Tuesday,
Tuesday, yeah.
because I wasn't on the Thursday show, and I kind of thought it would be that kind of a trade. Like, my first reaction is, why is Arizona, with all of these starting caliber tackles,
Right,
trading
just
them?
giving them away. Yeah.
And clearly they're having a fire sale. I mean, they're trading guys that are cheap, that are good players, like Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah.
Ollie, they're going to pick twice within probably the first 5 or 10 picks. In the
Right.
draft
So, I
this
mean,
year.
clearly they have a thought in mind, but you're not going to get, like, I think I suggested there'll be one of those. I think
Yeah.
they'll trade a 4th rounder and get a 6th back.
Yeah.
One of
You
those,
did.
like, and it ended up being like a 5th rounder with a 7th rounder involved. So I don't think you needed to trade like just trade a 4th rounder for him.
If they really felt like they could have got him, it doesn't sound like it would have been that hard. So I just led to, why wouldn't they want him right now? Maybe because they feel like they're getting healthy.
Right.
Yeah, but like the Calvin
that's what I'm
Anderson
saying.
thing to me, like, let's just say for argument's sake, he is fully healthy right now.
Yeah.
So when is he available?
I mean, I guess like when you know.
And what is he? He's not really a starting caliber player.
And he'd probably be a left tackle.
And people are telling me Josh Jones he started like 10 games last year.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I think Anderson did start some last year for the Broncos, but he'd be a left tackle.
But he's been a backup in his
thing.
career who's filled in. Josh Jones has been a starter for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not missing that, right?
No. I mean, I guess it's the question, and it ties in with Hardy's thing with the preseason, where you're going to get Onwenu back. You know, hopefully now he's starting to, had the pads on this week. Like, so he's got 2 weeks. He's probably not going to play tonight. So he's just got 2 weeks of practice to get ready.
He's not going to play tonight.
Wow. Pat, does that suffice? Is your question answered?
Questions answered.
Thanks,
Rudy
Pat.
Makes the cut, and that's all I got, guys.
All right.
Now, Anderson has 12 starts in 3 years.
12. So.
The best he had was 7 out of 14 games last year. So, like,
I know nothing about him.
So he's a third tackle, is what he is. Now, he could be a good third tackle. He could be better than Connor McDermott or Riley Reif, and then have to start. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, the way I look at it, they don't really have a second tackle right now.
Exactly. He might be it. He might be your second best tackle.
Let's go to John in Louisiana. John, you're on the Patriots Pregame Show with Hardy and Mike and Tamara and Paul. What's going on?
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I appreciate taking my call. I got a question away from the game. I got a question as far as like reporters. This offseason, it was tough to be a fan with all the fake news on Twitter. Oh, this person has sources and everything. I'm wondering how hard was it for y'all to kind of write or be reporters this year with all the fake news? And my last question is, I wonder how do y'all feel about like Asante Samuel kind of down in the organization so much? It feels like every week he comes out saying all this and that. So that's all I got for y'all.
Yeah.
I don't know specifically what fake news you're talking about, John. I mean, in terms of like bad reporting or like maybe some.
Has there been any?
Well, like with the free agency and the draft this year, it was like so many people like how the Odell or like the DeAndre Hopkins thing was like, oh, he's a shoe-in to come to New England. It's a done deal already.
Oh,
well,
I didn't read that.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it, John, it's a good question. I think a lot of it is just deciphering what is put out there as opinion and what is put out there as actual factual stuff. And the only thing that I really feel like I got, a little bit tripped up on was the Ezekiel Elliott contract. And then the more I learned about it and hearing Paul actually break it down, didn't get all that tripped up. I mean, there was
it's that was Schefter had that wrong. That was like quote fake news, like John said.
Yes,
because he had $4 million, I think, in guarantees, and Schefter had it wrong.
Yeah,
it's not that much.
But okay, so that was like one thing. But I don't think that changes all that much. It did change things a little bit, but in terms of the other stuff that's out there, I mean, there's so much opinion out there. And we talked with one guy who was like a former, I don't know if he was like an assistant to a GM somewhere. The guy's down in Florida now. He's got some experience in the college ranks. I'm blanking on his name, but he makes a habit of reporting things on his Facebook page that are really just opinion. The guy has...
Oh, the old offensive line guy.
Yes.
I heard you guys talking to him one day a while ago.
Yes, and he puts things on Facebook. He's like, well, they're really just meant to like start conversation. It's like, but you actually have a background in the game. And I go ahead and call it like irresponsible or whatever. But he's like, no, I'm just having some fun, just trying to like drum up some speculation. So there's a lot of that stuff out there. But until you get the official announcement either from, a trusted source or the team, I don't think a lot of stuff gets misreported. I think rumors start to take on a life of their own, but I think most people understand that they're still just rumors.
And there is always stuff that's going to go on. Like people are going to say, oh, the Patriots met with DeAndre Hopkins, and some people are going to say, oh, I heard it went really well. They don't know. Mm-hmm. No one knows that. But for the most part, I think this has been a pretty straightforward year in terms of, that kind of stuff, rumors and whatnot. Now, the other part, the Asante Samuel part, he does not like Bill Belichick because he felt like Bill Belichick was very dishonest with him. Frankly, I don't really disagree with him. I think he was. I think he sort of sold him a bill of goods about he was sort of assured that he was going to be back. And then I think that they kind of got everything they could out of him that last year. And then they turned around and let him go, and I think he was very resentful for it. I think he has beef with Bill. He was a good player. He was a really good player. And he was a good player after he left here, too. He continued to be a Pro Bowl caliber player for the Eagles. He doesn't like Bill, and I see him on Twitter all the time, sort of bashing Bill. And he gives Brady all the credit.
Yeah.
You don't hear him necessarily bashing the organization,
Yeah.
or bashing his teammates ever. He doesn't like Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
it shows.
Yeah, well, it's just becoming his thing now.
Right.
And it's
It's
like,
shtick.
do you enjoy doing the dance? And it's
Right.
fine, and that's what he's known for now. Is the
Yeah.
guy who doesn't like.
Yeah,
Bill
I looked up Josh Jones. It is kind of similar to he started 21 out of his in 3 years. 12 2 years ago, 9 last year, and I know he got hurt last year, which
Yeah.
is why he didn't start more than that. So he's kind of like Calvin Anderson. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's as simple as that. They think Calvin Anderson is just as good, and he's coming back.
Yeah.
He looks like a third tackle. This guy was kind of made out to be more than this. Josh Jones, don't you think?
What was he drafted?
Last week? He was a first-round pick, I
Yeah.
think. It's the last year of his. Well, I don't know if he was a first-round pick, but he was last year of his rookie deal, I should say.
I don't know, man. I think they got some issues though on the offensive line, and I mean, and anybody, talking on PU, we had 98.5's Alex Barth filled in. We had Fred stuck around, but we had a fun show on Thursday. But I think anybody you talk to right now, it's like, what's your number one concern? The offensive line. I mean, I think everything we talked about with
third
round pick. With Bill O'Brien, that's exciting. That there's some buzz there about what this offense has looked like, and just that they look like they're all on the same page, and that Mac has some answers now. But it's all for naught if they can't protect Mac, and if he's under duress, and much less like we talked about tonight, not playing. I mean, I pointed out on the fumble where he got like pile drived after the play. Nobody really saw that too. So he took some shots.
And I wonder if that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Now, I think you could benefit, and we talked about this last week in the post-game show. He might have to play with some of these guys. And I think that you could benefit from learning how to move around with a little less time.
Yeah.
And you don't want to put him in harm's way. I'm not suggesting, listen, he doesn't have to play tonight. That's not going to be the end of the world. I'm got no problem with it. But I'm a little surprised that it seems like the way everybody's reporting it, he's not playing at all tonight, right? I think Mike Reese has sort of indicated that in others. I think Greg Bedard, Mike Giardi. I'm a little surprised that he wouldn't play at all. Last year he played significantly in the third preseason game
after 2 days of joints too.
Against the Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you, Paul. I think it's great to not put him in harm's way, but in the sense of like getting him used to the chance that you might have to abort mission for some of the plays because of your offensive line not being as good. So I think it's great to be put in those moments of adversity early so that he can kind of get all the
they just don't want it to be too adverse, like break your leg adverse.
No, and I totally get it. I understand it, and I just feel like the offense hasn't necessarily shown much consistency. And I don't know, can 10 or 15 plays at least give them a little bit more? And, you might say the benefits of 10 or 15 more plays aren't worth it.
Yeah, the risk outweighs the potential benefit.
And if that's the way that Bill looks at it,
and it's like
I'm
not
fine.
to like compare to like the Steelers, for example, but literally Kenny Pickett has gone out and scored touchdowns on every single drive he's gone out the preseason. So like, cool, pull him, don't put him out there. But like, we have not seen that from the offense with the Patriots.
And as much as we want to like ring the bell of they look a lot better. I mean, it was better.
I mean, they had 3 drives, right?
Yeah.
And the only one they scored on started at the 18-yard line.
The pick 7.
and it needed a third down penalty to avoid pick 3.
Yeah.
Sorry, trademark Hardy.
Yeah, trademark.
But that's all right. No,
it's a great one.
You're allowed to use it.
You should sell that. Do you use that on the Sports Hub? Have you put that into
I believe I've heard
out
you
there
use
on
that on the Sports.
They should know about your brilliance.
I probably
full
have.
credit, of course.
Yeah.
No, well, the more you try and tell somebody that you're brilliant, the less they seem willing to believe it.
Yeah.
Well, in your case, it's true.
Sons of
I
bitches.
keep telling them. They just don't believe me.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Adam in Delaware. Let's go to Delaware. Hi, Adam.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Delaware.
Good.
Good. So I just had a question about Demario Douglas. Just in our history, it's just crazy seeing a rookie receiver get this kind of like veteran treatment. And I wonder like if should he play tonight? Just because like we really haven't seen too much of him, and I get it like in the joint practice he's been great and with the team drills and stuff. But like what if he just flatlines pretty much, and then are there going to be problems or pitchforks raising about this guy like, hey, why didn't this guy play more to see if he was actually ready to go by week 1?
Well, I think he's hurt right now. He's dealing with something. He hasn't really practiced this week, and he was going up to the upper practice fields to condition. So,
and I think that's why he didn't play a ton against Green Bay.
Yeah, he might have gotten dinged up in that play.
On that 2-yard loss that he turned into a 2-yard gain.
That's right. That's right.
And, the celebration ensued. I believe he landed on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And, I'm not a doctor, but my guess is that he has some discomfort in the right shoulder.
Yeah.
And he didn't really practice this week.
I would just say, though, generally, like, my expectation is not that, like, he's going to be third and long. He's the fourth or fifth receiver that comes onto the field. Like, I don't see him playing significant snaps as the third slot receiver. It's going to be Parker, Bourne, and Juju. That's going to be the primary three. They're going to play with the tight ends a little bit. They're going to play with the backs a little bit. But I think early on, it's not like we got to get Demario Douglas ready. It's just that I think he's going to be, all right, it's third and long, Demario, that's your package. Get out there, and he'll have a quick little route.
But I do get Adam's point, because why would you have a rookie receiver who's trying to learn his way in the NFL and say, well, we're not going to give him any snaps in the preseason at all?
Yeah.
And I don't think he was – I mean, the joint practices were okay, but I don't think he was overly involved in those either, in Green Bay.
Red zone stuff early, but not full team stuff.
He was good.
Yeah.
He was good. And he's been impressive, I think, throughout camp. Most days he's shown up.
Yeah.
But I think this last week now, Adam, I think Mike's right. I think he's banged up, and I don't think we'll see him tonight.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Adam.
you guys.
All right. Take care.
Adam.
Enjoy the game. Let's go to Miami. Talk to John. What's up, John? Thanks for calling into the pregame show. What do you got?
Howdy, team. Okay, Hardy, I've got something for you.
Yes.
You know your different eyeball-related rhymes that you implement for seeing things on the field?
What's popular in his ocular?
Yes. What's going to make your cornea hornier tonight when you're watching the game? Stuff like that? Sure.
Sure.
May I submit another one for you?
Go, please.
What was broadly shown to your rods and cones?
Oh, that's the only eyeball, element that you didn't have one for.
It's excellent, and
What's the iris one?
I do have to. What's going to cause the virus in your iris?
Correct.
You have one for pupil?
I do have to. Nothing rhymes with pupil.
Orange.
I do have to. I do have to give credit to former Patriots pregame host Adam Jones.
Ew.
For years ago coming up with a rods and cones rhyme. But he took that with him to his other radio station. It's copyrighted. I am not allowed to use it, John. But thank you. Thank you. You're in good company. You and Jones coming up with that one.
Well, fabulous. It touches my heart that it was accepted into canon, and I'll be calling in later this season.
It was it was part of a custody battle. Jones got rods and cones.
You know what?
I took Peepers Peeled, Looky Loo, Popular in the Ocular, all of those.
And it's always the puns that get hurt the most.
Oh, yeah.
And the divorce.
Yeah. Well, everybody wants them. Where do you go?
Everybody
also
wants
a great
puns.
song in Better Off Dead. Van Halen, but everybody wants some.
It's one of those scenes, if you ever watch this movie, Tamara, and you won't.
I won't. I think it could be going right now. It could. Oh, look at this. How funny. Better Off Dead song. I think Tamara would leave the studio.
Yeah.
Just so she couldn't see it.
That is a scene in that movie you're watching it and say, okay, what is this? I don't understand it, and it would make you stop watching it. That scene. It would, wouldn't it?
Well, where a claymation hamburger comes to life and sings a Van Halen song. What's wrong with that?
Because the movie was clocking in at about 84 minutes, and they said, guys, if we want a theatrical release, we got to tack like 6 minutes onto this. How about 3 minutes of a song? Okay, that'll give us halfway there.
Right. How much we got to pay to get Van Halen's "Everybody Wants Some"? Like,
It'll be worth it.
All right, it'll be worth it.
Otherwise, we don't get the theater release. What is it that you wanted to see from Mapu tonight? What are you looking for?
Contact. We haven't really been able to see him do full contact because he's been in a red jersey. So it'd be great to finally see, we've seen him. And we've heard people talk about how great he is, how smart he is. He picks up everything fast. He can play multiple positions, but I'd actually really like to see him actually do that with full contact and pads.
Without seeing that contact yet.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, how do you choose where you would like him to play other than just filling the role that is most needed on this team? So let's say he is that versatile and he could, he proves to be that guy. Where would you play him?
He's going to play strong safety. Is going to be what he says. I mean, he's going to be a safety.
I'd put him at linebacker.
I mean, there's certainly an argument, and as a sub linebacker, sure. But I think if he's out there every snap and he's playing a lot tonight, he's going to be probably playing a safety role where he'll do a little of everything. But I think once it gets to the regular season, you'll be maybe more along Paul's lines, which we were kind of onto Mac Wilson. Not a great game for him last week, but I think all of us would be pretty excited to say, hey, let's take out Mac Wilson as kind of a dime linebacker, really specific situational guy, and put Mapu in there. He's got some good size, and that's what I want to see. I don't feel like until you see a guy in a game with a jersey on and the pads and up against the other guys, even if you see him out there on the practice field, that you really get a sense of what they look like, what they move like in a game, and that's what I want to see. I mean, we did see a little bit in Green Bay. He popped Tucker Kraft pretty good, kind of again through the wickets, trying to see it across the field. But there's been little glimpses. But I just, like Tamara said, everybody's been pumping him up about everything he can do. All right, well, let's actually get to see what they're going to have him do, and not just live in this fantasy world of he's going to do everything.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of using him at linebacker, just because somebody who is versatile with some speed that can hit. I mean, why wouldn't you want him in that position?
Yeah, I feel like last week, we talked about the Packers game when the run defense was kind of shaky. And I think we all agreed it was bad, but we all agreed that we didn't really care. Like, it wasn't anything long-term that we were worried about because of a couple of reasons. Number one, I just feel like you can scheme it up and stop the run, if it's really a problem. But more so, you had Lawrence Guy's out and Barmore's in, who's not necessarily going to be a run player. And more importantly, Mac Wilson's in for Juwan Bentley. And we had a great moment, Hardy, on Tuesday where Mike and Evan and myself at the same time had our new surprise cut candidate. And we all said it at the same time, Mac Wilson. He looked like he was really struggling. And I wonder if they put him out there. He's like a third down sub linebacker. He's a good athlete, and occasionally he can make plays, in that regard. And I wonder if Bill said, okay, we know we can do that, but can he do anything else?
What if Bentley got hurt? Could we put him into
a
bigger
role? Could we put him
role?
in there? And I think that might have been, maybe I'm reading way too much into it, but that could have been an audition for him last week. And if it was, I think he didn't fare well in it. And I wonder if he's expendable. You put Mapu more as a sub linebacker. You get a guy like, we have some bubble watch stuff here. Just handful of guys. I saw Evan, had a bunch of guys this afternoon. He tweeted out, just tend to keep an eye on. You see the Sean Wades, Josh Bledsoe, Ronnie Perkins, those kinds of guys. I think J.J. Taylor is in the mix at running back right now. I just haven't been impressed with my guy, Kevin Harris, who I've sort of been wanting to see more of, and I haven't really seen it. So I wonder if J.J. Taylor maybe has put himself in front. We saw a return from Ty Montgomery this week at practice. Is he healthy enough? Can he get in the mix?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I look at some of these positions and I wonder, can you take a Calvin Munson and put him on special teams? Make him I kind of had Amir Speed tabbed for one of those special team spot. I'm not sure there's. I'm not, based on Bill's answer to that Amir Speed question.
Right, developmental player.
Developmental player. I thought he was kind of dismissive a little bit. I don't know. I think there are some bottom of the roster guys tonight. These are the guys we're going to be looking at. A little bubble watch.
Yeah. Be curious if Pierre Strong gets out there. He was, concussed, we think, and then red jersey first practice this week, out of the red jersey the second one. So he's probably my favorite of all those guys. I mean, not my personal, but the favorite in my eyes to be that fourth back maybe with Ramondre and Zeke and Montgomery, who I still think is going to play a big role.
Yeah. You want to do some quarterback talk? Do you want to talk a little bit more?
Our team?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Which team? What are we talking about?
Might as well. I don't know
Jimmy
when.
G? I don't know.
I don't know when Paul has to leave for his chin wag here, but
I believe that's 7:06.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we got time. We got all the time in the world.
Plenty of time.
So yeah, those are the guys I'm looking at tonight, though. Mapu, I think is a good one. Can we see him? Get involved a little bit.
Yep.
Physically, that'd be.
Ferkser. I mean,
Ferkser.
Him and Sokol, those two. Are they going to be in the mix?
Sokol's another one on this list.
Sokol, those. I think they need that role, and it's just from watching practice, it feels to me like when they say we're going early down run work, that they're going to want to have Sokol out there with Hunter Henry. I think that might be the duo, and then you wait till second, third down to get Gesicki involved.
Another guy that I'm wondering if he's going to play tonight. Well, not going to play tonight because Mapu, I hope he does play tonight. But Ezekiel Elliott, I'm like, he technically hasn't played in a game either. So I'm wondering
Do I need to refer you back to my key to the game?
Oh, yeah, there was an E in there.
Sit E.
Sit
E for sit Ezekiel Elliott.
Thank you. Thank you for putting that in my mind.
Whether it makes sense or not, it fit the pun. So that's part of the key.
I hope he's out there since he said he feels healthy and he's ready to go. I'm hoping that
I'd be okay with that.
Or
I'd be okay with
to Teresa's point, do you put these people in bubble wrap and he's included in the bubble wrap group and you just don't play him tonight?
Okay, so J.J. Taylor is on that bubble list right now.
Yeah.
You have to know what kind of role Ezekiel Elliott is going to play. Unless you're convinced, if you know what he is, even without him not taking any, meaningful reps with this team, then fine. Use that to determine whether or not J.J. Taylor is going to have a spot in this offense. Is that fair?
I think it's
fair.
But
if you're not sure, then I think you do have to play Ezekiel Elliott and find out, what he's going to give you. Is he right now, Paul? If you had to guess, how is Ezekiel Elliott used in a healthy running back core for the Patriots this year?
I think that they will use him as like the secondary guy, and he'll get series here and there. I think he'll be, a red zone guy, a goal line back,
Okay.
and I think maybe occasionally on third down, you'll see him out there. My question about him playing now, whether or not he plays, would be conditioning. He missed a lot of the summer. If Bill thinks he looks like he's up to speed, then I see no need to play him tonight. But if Bill thinks he needs, he could probably benefit from getting knocked around a couple of times and getting 3 or 4 carries, by all means, do it. But, a veteran like him, I don't think, like Mac Jones is in his 3rd season. Like, to the the caller's point a little bit, Demario Douglas, rookie. Like, these guys can benefit from preseason snaps. A healthy and ready to go Ezekiel Elliott, I don't worry about, but the only thing is, and he even talked about it the other day, about, kind of being antsy when he was out and not necessarily, just wanting to get back into playing shape. And if he feels like he's in playing shape, then I'm fine with it.
It's a good question. I'd love to maybe ask the players what I think of it. It's just like, do running backs, do you feel like you need it? Do you feel like at that position? Because I think, I know playing against the run, you'd like to see a little contact just to see, like, all right, are we getting a push? Are we able to get guys down quickly? But as a running back, do you want those hits, or would you just say, you know what, look, I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to run with it. I don't need to, take any more unnecessary hits than I have to take. I don't know. Interesting.
I think it makes it a little more complicated when you're talking about guys like J.J. Taylor and, what their involvement is going to be, what their availability is going to be. It impacts a lot of things, but if and you know how you're going to use them, then it may not factor in. I just think there are a couple of instances, rare occasions, when a preseason game can give you some meaningful information, and this is one of them. So
yeah.
I think it could be useful.
And I feel like even in another person in the running back group, Pierre Strong, it's like we haven't been able to see some meaningful information because he's been in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Allegedly. And so I think that...
No, not allegedly.
It's out there?
Yeah,
okay.
No, he was in concussion protocol.
So now that he's back, it's like, okay, are we going to get to see enough out of him today to, potentially help to see if he makes the team? It's like, I don't know.
I think he's a real X factor. And, I mean, when we had Barth on the show on Thursday, and Evan and Fred were still sticking around, and they were both, really kind of pumping up J.J. Taylor. And I know he looked good last week, but I'm like, if he couldn't get on the field last year when they were just had nothing and they wouldn't play him, what has happened between then and now that makes you think that with improved depth that now he's got a shot? I like the player. I just don't know if they
had to
him
go out
as
and sign Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, right. And they didn't even give him a sniff last year without. I mean, they ran Ramondre into the ground.
No,
so
he fumbled against Tampa,
and that was it
2 years ago.
Yeah,
and hasn't really been in the mix since.
Because he had.
I let that sink in for a second because that's about right. He fumbled against Tampa.
You know what? I'm going
2 years ago.
I'm going to look up his
and he's been on the pay no mind list ever since.
Is this his 4th year? Because I feel like
and by the way, that's not just a Belichick thing.
This is his 4th year.
Yeah, because I thought in 2020 he had a game, maybe 3-4 games into the season that were pretty good. He had a couple big carries, I remember, and you felt like maybe there was something there. And
yeah, but I mean, this is not just a Belichick thing. Remember Amendola one time dropped a pass from Brady in week 3, and he didn't get the ball again until week 15 of the following season. I mean, it happens to these guys, and I think this case, it's obviously a case of the coach making the decision, but, I mean, it doesn't take much. You fumble the ball at the wrong time or drop a pass on the wrong play, and you're out. You're out.
I just think they see him as a good little practice squad player that can give them a look. But at the end of the day, when it's 3rd and long, that they're just like we can't play a guy who's whatever he is, 5'6", 180.
Yeah,
or
he only got in one game last year.
Yeah,
10 carries, 9 yards against Indianapolis. But after the Tampa Bay game, so that was week 4 of 2021. He's played in 3 games. He played in week 7, 9 carries, 21 yards. He played in week 10, 6 carries, 11 yards. And then he went from week 10 of 21 to week 9 of 22 without being active.
Yeah.
Wow. And then played that one game against the Colts. So he really has not had a chance to play any meaningful reps since that Tampa Bay. I think he caught a screen in that game and fumbled on it.
I just have a hard time really banging the drum for
yeah.
him
I
to
mean,
make the team. Like,
it's serious. I mean, how many games has he played total?
You asking, or are you just stalling?
Now I got to pull
like,
it up.
Depending on availability, though.
12 games in his career. He really has only had 2 productive ones. He had 4 carries for 28 yards in his first game. He had 6 carries for 38 yards in the blowout loss on the Monday night against Buffalo in 2020. Other than that, he's like below 4 yards a carry every game, and a lot of those are below 2 yards a carry.
That's why Pierre Strong's intriguing to me. I'm with you on Kevin Harris. Been a little disappointed. I just find it hard to believe they cut Harris and Strong. Like, I think at least one of those guys.
Will stay, and I think it'll be Strong.
Yeah.
And you got to get the other one on the practice squad.
Yeah, they cut him last year, right?
Yeah, if you want him, he's going to be on the practice squad.
We're going to step aside for a moment. We want to thank Dunkin.
Are we taking a break already?
That's not allowed.
Holy smokes!
It hasn't even been an hour, but it's. Do you want me to go 5 more minutes?
Do whatever you want.
No,
we're going to take a break, and I'm going to enjoy some of this Dunkin' iced coffee. Remember, it's always game on with Dunkin', which is why grabbing a coffee is the most important game day ritual, especially for an 8:15 preseason kick. The best call for football is Dunkin', the official coffee of the New England Patriots. America runs on Dunkin'.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS, only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want on your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
TouchView Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in VC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
$1 million? For picking players? That's a lot of money, DraftKings. You know how many jokes I got to tell to make $1 million? Probably like a half of one.
Take a free shot at $1 million with DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports.
We exist to keep your body and mind moving.
It's never too late to rise.
Because everybody is a Therabody.
Touchview Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, Touchview also offers a built-in VC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
$1 million? For picking players? That's a lot of money, DraftKings. You know how many jokes I got to tell to make $1 million? Probably like a half a one.
Take a free shot at $1 million with DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports.
We exist to keep your body and mind moving.
It's never too late to rise.
Because everybody is a Therabody.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS, only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like my plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get my plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want on your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get my plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
To Jose in Texas, who would like to talk about Marte Mapu's impact.
Not Marla Maples inside.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Hey, we're back. Unbelievable.
Sorry, I was talking to Paul.
Let's go, Chuckles. Oh, thank you. Morel just said the most unintentionally funny thing. I won't repeat it, but oh my God, that kid. Whoo, teared up a little bit. All right.
What's going on?
Are we going to talk about kickers? Want to talk about Nick Folk? Is he going to make team? Is he going to be on the practice squad? What's going to happen with Nick Folk? I love Nick Folk.
I mean, I think the two in the punters too. I feel like the two rookies have the bigger legs, but they're inconsistent. Like they've been. I mean, we saw. What did we see? Ryland missed 3. Was it 3 kicks?
Yeah, he missed all 3 on Tuesday.
Bad.
And then Folk missed a couple the next day.
Yeah.
Nick Folk, everybody. I will say, for a team who heavily relies on field goals because they have red zone issues, you need a consistent kicker, and I'm going to go with keeping Nick Folk.
You know what, Tamara?
Before your pick 3 turns into a pick 0.
I'm with you. I like that. What?
She's throwing fire.
I mean,
fire. Before your pick 3 turns into a pick 0.
It's soundbite after soundbite with this Tamara Brown character over here.
I'm just saying, like, last in the red zone efficiency last year, like.
Yeah. Do you want to come away with any points? You're going to find somebody you can put, consistently make from 35, 40, 42. So starting to push Nick Folk's range.
I wonder if there's been conversations between the team and Folk, though.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd try
this
to
is what we're going to do. We're going to keep the kid. We're going to cut you. We're going to put you on the almost on cue on NBC Sports Boston. They're talking about the kicking.
Oh, Mike Reese.
We will talk to you. We'll figure out what you're thinking, and we'll get you on the practice squad if you feel like hanging around, and then that gives you some of that comfort. Now, that's dangerous because I think there's a team or two. I've heard some rumblings about Dallas. I've heard some rumblings about San Francisco that are right now kind of searching for kickers, and I don't think that if I'm Nick Folk, I would probably sign with one of those teams if I had the ability to sign as the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
What's the strategy going to be on kickoffs this year? Are they just going to go for the touchback every time?
Kick them off the tee.
I honestly,
let's talk about it while we can, because I don't know if it's next year or the year after, but the kickoff is going away.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point of ridiculousness now.
I have no idea what to expect. Like, I just feel like just kick it out of the end zone, and like, you know, it gets too dicey trying to like line it up and get them to, you know, I don't know. It's one of those things. I think you need to see it game out a little bit, you know, and get into the regular season. And I don't know, Paul, what have they been doing on the kicks? I haven't really been paying attention to the kickoffs that much.
Well, I think that they've experimented a little bit in the preseason games. The first one was a squib.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But since then, everything has been in the air, more conventional.
Yeah.
I think in the preseason, you're going to see guys, a lot of times those are young guys, they're going to take them out no matter where they are. In the regular season, I think you're going to see almost all touchbacks. Because I think, well, even if it doesn't go out, you just put your hand up, and it's going to be a touchback.
Yeah, you're 25.
So unless it's a low line drive that gets you right, you know, gets on you right away at the 5-yard line, I think you're going to take the 25-yard line more often than not. So even just kick them high, make them call for a fair catch. If they don't call for the fair catch, you have a chance to pin them.
Hit them.
You know?
Blast them.
Very anti.
But I don't, you know, back to your original question, though, Hardy, that stat that's been lingering around now. So, you know, now you're talking about Jake Andrews and Mafi and Ryland, right? They've never cut a 4th-round pick who was healthy. Bill Belichick, and that's not a small sample size, 20 years.
No, that's a lot. Okay. Zappy's starting tonight.
That's the word.
That is.
Where are you getting that from?
I'm getting that from somebody on the ground there getting ready to
Does
call.
he talk like this?
Could be.
Hey, meathead.
Zappy's starting. Shut up.
How you doing, Hardy?
No, you start. You start. I heard. They told me.
I thought he was all of a sudden right here.
It's like he's in the room.
They told me exactly what they wanted to get out there because, you know, I'd repeat it verbatim, not question anything. That's not nice and true. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me if that ends up being the case. I'm sure that will be the case. It's just, again, what are we looking for offensively then if it is Zappy? Are we looking for the guys to be able to run routes and not be so concerned whether or not the passes actually get complete? This is going to force me to watch the game as an actual analyst, watching guys. Are they running routes? Are they getting separation? Are they getting open? Regardless if the ball ends up in their hands or not, because it is Zappy back there who, as we discussed, is real good when things go according to plan quickly. Whenever there's a decision to be made, or
Mac is the same way.
Yeah,
Mac is the same way.
But Mac at least has the ability to make a decision.
Sometimes.
That is true.
And have that decision be the right one. To Zappy's defense, he hasn't had as much opportunity or experience in order to get that confidence. But I'm just saying, in order to make a decision on some receivers here tonight or some things that you're going to do offensively, you have to look a lot harder than just, completion percentage. You're going to have to look at how guys are out there moving, regardless of whether they end up getting the ball.
Do you think there's an element of just as an example, like Vrabel hearing that Patriots aren't going to play their starters tonight, and now Vrabel might say, you know what, I don't need my starting defensive line to go out there and just absolutely maul the Patriots' backup offensive line. I'd rather put maybe my backups out there. And is there any kind of jockeying that way, or do you think they have a plan and they're just going to roll with it?
Yeah, I think you have to do what's best for your team. I do think, and I know that Bill has sort of come back against this, but I think he's being a little disingenuous about it. I think that coaches often talk before preseason games and sort of get an idea of how they're going to handle it. And I think that's sometimes when you see, I think Bill last year was a little upset with Brian Dable for the amount of blitzing that they did. I think when you see that sometimes it runs counter to what they had talked about. Now, Bill says that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I think
unwritten agreement.
I think think it that's why I say it's not a lie. But I think all right, you're playing, you're going to play your ones? Okay, all right. Well, listen, I'm going to play my twos,
Yeah.
Let's not embarrass them.
Yeah.
Well, one of those kind of deals.
Yeah, especially.
And then you're blitzing them.
Yeah, right. sending
and I'm not
zero blitz.
And I'm not picking at Dable, but that's my point is, I do think that they kind of have an idea of how each team is going to approach the game personnel wise, and then it's like Mike said, it's an unwritten thing.
Yeah.
Well, right. They're going to have Trace McSorley out there the whole second half. I probably don't need to be sending any blitzes, like to kill the kid.
Yeah.
My offensive line is down, 6 players.
And without the benefit of the joints to work some of this stuff out, I think that, it could go either way. Maybe you don't have as much of an agreement with the opposing coach. Maybe you have more of an agreement saying like, hey, I know I didn't get a chance to talk to you this week, but here's what I'm thinking for tonight. You do whatever you want, but how does this sound?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like
right. You're not telling the other team what to do.
You're telling them what you're going to do.
Doing, and I think that's
and what do you think?
Right.
Well, that's kind of and that's why I was just trying to put myself in Vrabel's shoes a little bit because, to be frank, like if the Patriots are playing all their backups on the offensive line and Vrabel's like, well, we got to get Jeffrey Simmons some work, like they're probably not going to get much accomplished in the Patriots offense with that defensive line, coming crashing in on Zappe. So I guess we'll just see how it plays out. But I would guess they're not going to play their superstars. Like they're really, really good guys. I'd hold Trent Brown out. I'd play the rookies, though.
I'd play
Mafi.
For Tennessee, it's all about what they feel like they need.
Yeah.
And I think that I think part of the reason why not as many frontline guys are going because of that, because of the offensive line.
Yeah.
And back to your question, Hardy, of
yes.
What are you looking for? Like for me, I think with Zappe in there, I think I'm just looking for like good flow, rhythm, like communication, like no, like what do they call them? Medicine balls? Is that what they call them?
Hospital
balls?
None
of those.
We like to call them hospital balls.
Like none of those.
Cam Newton threw a medicine ball.
None of those, because already, being down Trey Nixon and Tyquan Thornton, you can't afford any more injuries like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. I mean,
that is a good point.
You're going to get a whole lot of booty. And
don't throw anybody into harm's way.
Yes.
Who doesn't want a lot of booty?
Cunningham and Thyrick Pitts. Thick Thyrick.
Pitts.
Thick Thyrick booty and.
Wow.
My God.
What is going on?
See how he just puts a smile on his face, Hardy. He's like the baby-faced assassin.
He is.
Just like everybody loves him. He's a handsome guy. Like look at me, I'm smiling
but
while I'm saying inappropriate things.
Inappropriate.
Being
sounds
negative,
like me on my
sneaky
kids.
negative.
Making fun of the team. Bad caddying.
Poor caddying.
Can't afford any more injuries
Swearing.
to max weapons.
Yeah.
No more. Because then at this rate, we won't even talk about bubble guys because there'll be plenty of room for these guys on the roster if anybody else gets hurt. So.
Right. It was theorized earlier this week that the Patriots actually have too many receivers.
What are we to do?
That laugh by Paul.
What are we to do?
I believe that was a Ben Volin.
Oh, my God, I wish.
Patriots have too many. You know what? They do. They have a lot of receivers right now. The problem is not, and I think they do have some good receivers. I think the problem is if you have a long conversation about who your number one is, the true answer is you probably don't have a clear-cut number one, which is not to say somebody can't emerge and become that guy. And you see, players elevate early on in seasons sometimes, and somebody might emerge as, he's your clear-cut number one. But based on what we have right now, it's difficult for me to say, they just got too many right now.
No.
There's two ways of looking at that. Too many good guys. I don't want to cut any of them. And then it's like, I don't know which of these guys beyond, 1, 2, and 3, you can probably come up with pretty easily.
Like,
beyond that, who's going to really be able to contribute in meaningful ways?
I mean, just go back to what everybody says. They got a bunch of 2s and 3s. Like, you need all of them. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
that's
okay,
like.
okay,
but you don't need all. You don't need all of them.
Well, you got 3.
If they're all
I mean,
2s and
3
3s,
guys.
I think they have. I think they have Juju, Parker, and Bourne, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would argue whether or not they're good enough to be NFL players.
No.
Right?
No.
Do you know for sure that Kayshon Boutte's an NFL player?
No.
Do you know that Malik Cunningham is an NFL wide receiver?
No.
Is Thyrick Pitts an NFL wide receiver? Like I don't. I'm not telling you they're not these guys. I'm telling you they might be worth developing. Demario Douglas, these guys, they might be worth putting in some time and effort to see. I think Douglas is. I think Thornton is. I think he has NFL skills. But to suggest that they have too many receivers is patently absurd. They don't have anywhere close to too many receivers. They have a bunch of guys that are possibly NFL caliber beyond those 3.
Bunch of guys still on the roster listed as receiver, but
not necessarily NFL receivers.
And then also,
would you be surprised if those guys don't have any impact at all this year?
Like the top three guys.
No.
Oh, Booty and Douglas.
Douglas,
No,
Pitts,
zero.
Cunningham. Would you be surprised if all 4 of those guys don't make an impact?
I mean, that's what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting a huge.
I think Douglas could have an impact.
Yeah.
The other 3, I'm not expecting anything.
No, exactly. I feel the same way. Like what I said earlier about Douglas. I think he is your 4th, 5th receiver on 3rd and long, and he goes out there and and he'll have some catches on that. But right now you're looking at Kendrick Bourne's played really well the last 2 weeks, but like. An injury to Kendrick Bourne, like an injury to Devontae Parker, like it instantly changes the dynamic. And now you're thinking like, oh, we got to play Demario Douglas full time now. Like that, like it just totally changes the dynamic. So I think they need those 3 guys. We said going into camp they needed Tyquan Thornton. Another disappointing summer for him. So it's tenuous.
This is an example of where you might have too many receivers. Okay. Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Mecole Hardman, Randall Cobb, and Corey Davis ends up retiring.
Yeah.
Corey Davis probably wasn't going to have a big role. Mm-hmm. He's an NFL caliber. Is he a star? No. Is he a Pro Bowler? Yeah. Probably not.
But he's
an
guys,
NFL player
5 NFL
like
guys versus
Kendrick
3 NFL
Bourne.
guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep. 5 to 3.
And he probably saw the writing on the wall that he was going to be on the outside looking in, and he decided to retire. He had enough.
Yeah.
That's having too many receivers. Do you think Kayshon Boutte is on the team?
Yeah.
I think he probably is because the opposite of too many receivers, they don't have enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's worth, is this last little week and a half, 2 weeks, is that a sign of things to come? Is he getting better? Is he worth developing? Sure.
Yeah.
The Malik Cunningham thing to me is
I don't get that one.
I want to see him try to develop as a quarterback. And see if there's anything there. Now, I'm not telling you he's going to be, but I've kind of seen I've been unimpressed so far as a wide receiver. I haven't really seen anything.
No, he didn't catch the ball. I mean,
they were 0 for 5 trying to throw the ball to him last week.
Another drop in practice Thursday.
Yeah, it's
if I was going to put him on the practice squad, I'd want him to try to develop into a quarterback.
I don't get it with Cunningham. I feel like it's a game of telephone where he had a good game and people talked about him, and now that there's just this like sentiment out there that this is like a player that the Patriots absolutely could not get through to the practice squad, based on what? Like he seems like he's got some promise, but I'd have no problem.
I think he has a lot of promise, and I'd like to see him play because I think he could probably
he
could be like a dynamic, entertaining presence out there. But I think his best value to the team right now is on the practice squad as the scout guy, emulating mobile quarterbacks that they're going to be facing on, I don't know, week 1.
I mean, and that's the thing, Hardy.
And then you can just go down the roster and pick guys out like throughout the schedule. It's like, Malik would be good to help the defense get ready for that guy and that guy and that guy.
Jalen Hurts is just the obvious week 1.
And that's what they've been doing. I mean, that's, in practice this week.
That's what he does.
You're early on. It's like kind of the starting defensive front 7 guys, and there's Malik Cunningham with the backups, and that's all they're doing.
Yeah.
Read option stuff all day long. So, that continues to be what I see as his primary use. They've been trying him in a lot of stuff, and I'd love to see him a quarterback tonight. It would make tonight fun, but I still haven't seen enough that makes me think that they would.
And if Zappy's starting,
practice squad.
I don't know. Maybe that means we won't see him tonight as quarterback. Maybe
Imagine if it was just
Zappy and McSorley.
And Cunningham.
Not to pick on Volan, but he did write that NFL teams typically keep 5 receivers. Patriots right now have 7 guys who can make a case.
I don't think that's true.
I'd like to hear him make a case
Schuster,
for Cunningham as a receiver.
Bourne, pretty much locked in. Douglas and Boutte have thrived in camp and seem to have won roster spots. Cunningham has a long way to go.
So why does he have a case? If he has a long way to go.
But he has likely shown enough versatility as a quarterback and special teamer to make the team.
So that's not as a wide receiver then.
Yeah.
But what do you list him as?
What he's listed at right now was quarterback on the roster.
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah. But he's not going to make the team as a quarterback.
No, he's not going to make the team.
Period.
Listen.
I'm with you.
I've been wrong.
Paul.
I've been wrong a million times, and I'm okay with it. Listen. If I had the information, then I wouldn't be wrong. I'm telling you my side. My feeling. I don't think he will make the team, and I definitely don't think he's going to make the team as a wide receiver.
He said the one question mark is Tyquan Thornton, last year's second-round pick, who seems to have fallen behind.
So
the
I
others.
just like, how is
His
but
health
how
is
is
a
he
question
a
mark.
question and Cunningham has a case
Right.
when he hasn't even caught a pass in a
That's not
preseason
even
game
close.
yet?
Even like their performances in training camp is not even close.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
Thornton's been far more impressive.
Right.
He's been far more impressive than Booty in training camp.
Oh. All right, Paul. Off you go.
Oh, and here we are, just the two of us.
We are here.
Talking
We are
Patriots.
here. We are here. Talking Patriots with you. You're welcome to join us, 855-PATS-500. Also like to thank Bridgestone, official tire of the New England Patriots. Proud to partner with Sullivan Tire, New England's headquarters for quality Bridgestone tires. Visit sullivantire.com to find a location near you.
They're like kin, Sullivan Tire. They're our kin.
Yes.
I would say.
Do you watch the television show Billions?
I wish I did. I don't.
No,
No, sorry. I'm familiar with it though.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
I have been called cranky, curmudgeonly, don't like anything. Not true. I enjoy a great many things in this topsy-turvy world and in this thing we call life. I do. I enjoy things in life. What I find I am enjoying less and less are the final seasons of programs or the later seasons of programs that I enjoy at the beginning. And my two best examples of this are Billions, which I think is demonstrating in the last two seasons has gone on 2 seasons too long. The pithy banter back and forth, the number of pop culture references that get sprinkled into normal conversations. It's more mind-numbing than the Patriots pregame show with us. At least we keep it to Jaws, The Godfather,
right. The
and
hits.
Better Off
We
Dead.
play the hits. We
Right?
play the hits.
It's just that's pretty much it. And the other one I have
Billions?
to say,
Yeah.
Yellowstone.
Oh.
Somebody mentioned Yellowstone the other day. I got to say, I was in on it from the beginning. I thought it was compelling. I thought it was dark. I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is not your typical Western. This has a couple of different elements to it, and I dig it. It has turned into the weirdest type of, like, cowboy porn.
Oh yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Stop short. Stop short with the horse. you
Like
know,
all
and
this
it's a
stuff.
thing.
And I heard someone else talking about it last night, and I brought up Billions. They're like, yeah, great show. I'm like, it was, until it just turned into the same thing over and over again. I'm like, aren't you bored?
Yeah.
Aren't you tired with it?
It's so hard to wrap a show. I find myself look, I fell out of Yellowstone because you turned me on to it with the cowboy porn thing. I'm like, I got to check this out. And I saw the horses stopping short and, like slow motion, the hoofs digging into the dirt.
The paw, the
you know,
foot.
and
Hoof.
Tyler Sheridan, the guy that wrote it, he's, wrote himself a nice, cool guy part for it. But I fell out on that one. I fell out of a lot of dramas. I know people probably have Game of Thrones opinions about how that wrapped up. But yeah, it's hard to do. It's hard to do in a way that, you just kind of run out of steam. And as much as everybody wants to write TV shows and because you got more creative freedom, but it's like it gets so long and it's like a tonnage issue. And at the end, you're like, man, we got so much. How do we wrap this thing up? I haven't seen a lot of satisfying TV show endings, especially dramas.
Yeah. I mean, and this is going to rub a lot of the people the wrong way because this is another argument I had last night. There was somebody sitting having dinner with us who started watching The Sopranos, a younger person, said, it was boring. I couldn't get through the first season. And a couple of the older guys were like, oh, this guy's an idiot. I said, you know what? At the time, it was groundbreaking. Television like that didn't exist. You would have an hour-long drama once a week, and it was beautifully written, wonderfully acted for the most part. And if you get past Gandolfini and Edie Falco and I guess Christopher, I forget the actor's name, played Christopher.
Yeah.
You get beyond that, you kind of had a bunch of people who weren't, what's the word I'm looking for? Great at acting. And it's a problem when you're putting if you're 25 years old and you've watched Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and you watch Game of Thrones, you watch all this stuff, go back and watch The Sopranos from the beginning. I'm not going to hate you for saying, what's the big deal about this show? It kind of sucks and there's some really bad episodes in it. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Matt?
I don't agree. I think they acted it perfectly.
Some
Even the
of
bad acting is supposed to be bad acting. They're stupid mobsters.
It's supposed to be bad.
But you don't,
I
It was Michael Imperioli, by the way.
Michael Imperioli.
Oh, he's a fantastic actor. He was great in that role. It was wonderful. Some of the other guys, though, I question time to time.
Like season 1 a lot. It picks up in season 2,
Puss,
obviously.
he was great, early on, but unfortunately, spoiler alert, he doesn't stay with us for the entire series.
I tried, actually, I've never seen all The Sopranos, and recently I tried to jump in, and I don't know, I wasn't able to, like, catch the wave and blast through them all. I kind of faded out.
I tell you
mid-season.
as we have our fun time. This is when the mice play while Polly the cat's away. Ozark, as ridiculous as it got at the end, I'm like, at some point, don't you just say no? I'm not going to do this anymore. As ridiculous as it got, still ended pretty strong. I think they finished pretty strong with that, and Peaky Blinders, a relatively recent show.
God, I've been terrible. I've fallen out of TV.
Really?
Yeah.
You're gonna watch all these things.
I know. Someday.
Okay. Well.
Hey, there's Zeke.
White Lotus?
Well, I watched White Lotus, and I was going to bring that up because I like that as not having to worry about how do we wrap up 7 seasons. It's just each season is its own thing, and you can kind of jump in, and you know what it's going to kind of be tonally.
Yeah.
And you have some fun, and you get out, and you don't have to worry about, all right, next season we got a cliffhanger, and then we got to figure this out. Like, it's just nice and contained, maybe a couple threads you carry over.
All right, there we go. Warm-up's happening right now. Ezekiel Elliott. Oh, helmet off. He's not playing.
See, right there is where I put the cheat sheet, and when I got to cheat on a test, that's right now.
Oh, God, this thing is tight. Are they supposed to be this tight?
I don't like these helmets, though. I'll do respect to Zeke. I don't know. Something bugs me about not having the top bar. It just looks like it's going to, like the shield's going to get crushed in if it were to happen to catch the wrong way. But
I think he knows what he's doing.
All right, fine.
I think he's been doing this long.
Shut up, Deuce.
He's going to be all right. He's going to be all right.
Stevenson.
You got Ramondre there and Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, that seems to be the whole plan there, the little tandem. Take some of the plate off for Ramondre, and
I like it. I think Zeke's look good. I obviously haven't really ever gotten to look up close at him, but he's got a little wiggle to him for a big guy that kind of struck me a little bit when he gets through the line. He's got a little shake and cut and go, and as we were talking about, I'm just intrigued to see him live and see how it works when guys are trying to tackle him. How strong does he look when guys are really trying to get him to the ground?
I love guys who think they might have a little something to prove. Maybe he's got a little something to prove to himself, maybe to prove to the Cowboys who didn't want to give him another deal that he thought was worthy of his talents and all the contributions he has made to that team. Now, you could argue the Cowboys looked at the situation and said, we gave you offensive line after offensive line after offensive line. No offense, Zeke, but a lot of running backs could have done what you did.
That's a good point.
But if you're Ezekiel Elliott and you know that you're talented and you know that you're, a special player in the NFL, now's your time to go out and prove them wrong, because the offensive line you have now is not like the ones you had in Dallas.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't see why not. It's not like he's 33 or something.
28.
Like let's just be a Patriots fan. Let's suspend, what the common narrative is right now that he might be washed or whatever. And I mean, he's looked good. He's got to be a little bit motivated. I forget how old Corey Dillon was when he was here in 04, but I mean, it's it's not totally different, same kind of situation.
It's not. It's just they're hard years on running backs.
It is.
These guys.
Well, I mean, even with Dillon, the fall off you saw from like 04 to 05 to 06, then when it was, within 2 years, it was no more.
It's unbelievable. It's like miles on a car. It's like you run for 1,600 yards one season. Great. Can you do that again? Oh, no, I only have so many yards in this running back body, and I just used 1,600 of them in one season.
Do you think with the best NFL line, do you think you could take one carry up the middle for a yard?
Me?
Yeah, like a normal dude. I can't even imagine like how you deal with getting tackled like that, by those guys, and how you don't break your leg every single time.
I don't look. I heard this put out there years ago by somebody who said, if you play one set of downs or one series, entire series as a lineman in the NFL, your body will never be the same.
I did it in high school, and I felt kind of that way. I got stuck at playing tackle because we had nobody, and I'm like, this is miserable. Like, I want to touch the ball. I want to have fun. It's just lining up and fighting a guy for 60 minutes.
Right, but you can't ask a lineman about it, because I asked Mike Flynn this once. I'm like, do you think that's true? And he's like, no. I mean, you get to the NFL and it's a different game, but Here's a guy who played college ball. He was always big. He was always strong.
Yeah.
And he just had to get bigger and stronger, in those years in Baltimore. But I think they do themselves a disservice when they realize just what a toll it takes on the body. So I know I kind of got off topic there. But, yeah, give me a great offensive line and pick up a yard.
1 yard.
You know what? If I was half the man I was 10 years ago, I'd take a flamethrower to this place. And, yeah, I'd get you that yard. Today, age 52? No.
No. The thought of just being tackled, even by like a toddler right now, that would be painful. But
my daughter is a little too rough with me right now.
Whoa.
She's maybe 105 pounds, maybe 16.
She's scrappy though, right? She's an athlete.
She inherited that pool of wiry hillbilly strength. Yep, that comes from
all your kin have that.
All my kin have that. Comes from Appalachia. That'll be generations and generations before that's out of the bloodline. She's got it, and I don't like it. She wants to scrap. I'm like, no, not anymore. And it's no more fun. All right, we'll go back to the phones here. 855-PATS-500. Tony in Canada. Tony, what's up?
Hey guys, just calling about the game. I'm excited to watch football. I'm not sure what to expect, but I'm more thinking about the regular season. And in terms of where, what our weaknesses are, everyone's talking about the O-line.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking that's a serious, for sure, that could be a serious problem. So I'm wondering if the Pats should go like 0-4 at the beginning of the season, what do you think are the odds that things will kind of unravel? And is it possible maybe that this year could actually be worse than last year?
If they,
hold on, I'm just going to take this off.
Okay, Tony, I just want to make sure I get your.
I want to ask you about.
I want to make sure I get your question right. If they start 0-4, what are the odds that the season unravels? Is that the question?
Yeah,
okay.
In the sense that how things were, the dysfunction in the locker room and everything else. Is it possible that we could end up in the same situation or worse? And real quick, I'll get off the line here right away, but I want to just ask you, I heard you guys talking about The Sopranos. I want to ask you if you could give me your idea what the best gangster movie, your favorite gangster movie. Mine would be The Godfather, the original. But
good question.
Yeah, that's all that I had for today.
Excellent question. Thank you, Tony. Can I combo them up, 1 and 2?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'm still picking Goodfellas.
Yeah.
I think I am.
I think I would too. I don't know. It's tough.
Don't sleep on Donnie Brasco. It's an excellent gangster movie. It's really good.
There's elements of all those ones that, like Casino, like things that are just special, make each one kind of stand out.
Sure. But
I like them all.
It's like choosing kids.
I think The Godfather would be my favorite. But yeah, I like them all.
It's like I wonder if the other ones would still hit as hard without The Godfather, as kind of just like the establishing of the genre almost, and like all that kind of power structure that they set up. That's not necessarily completely the other movies, but it still just gives you kind of like, not that they're sequels, but you know what I mean. They feel all kind of connected.
Yeah, I'm wondering like what ones we're missing out on here. Would you consider The Untouchables a gangster movie? It's really more of a cop
really, because it's
movie.
more from the cop's perspective, right?
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. You could go old school with Miller's Crossing.
I never saw that one. Yeah.
Coen Brothers. Come on, Deuce.
I've seen a lot of those, but not that one.
American Gangster. Denzel, again. Excellent. Excellent. You guys got
Thoughts on The Irishman?
I saw The Irishman. I didn't love it.
Okay. I've seen it. Are you ready for this? 3 times now. 3 times I watched that movie. Way better than it gets credit for. Yeah, it's too long, but it's Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and Joe Pesci. What's wrong? Most of the time with those guys, it's like the problem is the movie was too short. I wanted to keep going.
I have to say, I've also watched it 3 times, and each time it got better for me.
Thank you.
Ooh, yeah, Vrab's coming over. Soon to be inducted in the Patriots Hall of Fame. Oh, Billy O.
It was an awkward little hug there, no? It's a little like little dab, and then like.
What are we doing? What are we doing? How's shaking? What are we doing? Oh,
I like Vrabes.
I was going to ask you guys,
he's my favorite.
how's his relationship with Bill? Do we know?
He just hugs.
Who, Vrabes?
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Are they good? I know that Vrabel and maybe ownership was a little.
Oh yeah, that was a thing when he left.
Yeah, because he took a couple of shots at like them spending money on Patriot plays
plays.
and stuff like that. And
Oh.
He's made a couple of cracks since then, but he and Bill are good.
I think so.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if there was anything else there. Honorable mention for the gangster movies, and then I swear we'll move on. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Mel Gibson in Payback.
Oh.
Fantastic. It is
else
a
was in that? I
top
think I did
10
see
for
it.
me all
Is that where
time.
his kid gets kidnapped? No.
That's like Ransom.
Yeah.
That's Ransom, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Give me back my son.
Wow.
Or is the too much tuna guys refer to those and the Liam Neeson movies as
Right.
How dare you take my daughter? Payback, Mel Gibson. Watch it. Trust me. Take my word for it. All right. Tony in Canada's question: will the season unravel if they start 0-4? I don't mean I'm not being a jerk, and I don't think they're going to start 0-4. But the season's over if they start 0-4.
Absolutely.
They have to win one, preferably two of their first four.
And that's
they
why
have to.
And that's why I saw a little scuttlebutt today about September being an extension of the preseason again. I saw some people kind of commenting that after it got out that the Patriots weren't going to play starters tonight. I'm like, you can't afford to start late. Like you've been a team that's been on the cusp of the playoffs the last 3 years. One game or two goes.
And I'll tell you the difference.
You got to come out good.
The difference this year, between this year and the last 2 years, the last 2 years they've had really tough starts to the season schedule-wise.
Yeah.
Then they had a long, soft part of
Yep.
the schedule to be concluded with another tough section. This year, it's not a long, easy stretch in the middle. It gets a little easier, and then there's some tough games, and then there's like the easy games this year, like quote unquote. They have
Indy.
In my opinion, they have Indy and Washington is games that they should be better than those teams.
Yeah.
Right. The other games that you're quote unquote thinking of the soft part of the schedule are teams like Denver, Pittsburgh, Giants.
Yeah.
Like those are not going to be all easy games. Yeah, even the Raiders. Those are not going to be easy games. Chargers.
They're all tough.
Oh,
Wow,
okay.
Trey
Oh.
Lance.
All right, so this brings up a question.
Would you trade?
Why
I'm
didn't the
sorry.
Patriots trade for Trey Lance?
Is that the question?
It was brought up earlier this week. If you want to see Paul get mad all over again,
No, I won't. I'm not. That's not the part that makes me mad.
I'm going to mention the part that gets you mad.
No, you haven't even heard it yet.
Would you have traded Bailey Zappi and a third-round pick for Trey Lance?
Well, I mean, realistically, no, but I'd be intrigued by it just because I really liked Trey Lance's traits at least. I mean, I think there's something intriguing about having a raw lump of clay, but he hasn't played a lot of football. So I mean, practically no, because Zappi right now is developing into what you want out of a backup quarterback. Somebody that knows what he's doing and hopefully can get in there and not totally blow it. But I'd be intrigued by Lance. I mean, if they had found a way to get him in as like the third quarterback, I'd be all for it. I think, I always am saying any
agree.
quarterback, I love it. But Lance's issues at this point
There's
are
a ceiling.
well
Here's the part which
there's a high
pisses-
ceiling there. I agree, and I would be intrigued by it.
I think
agree
his
with Mike.
ceiling is higher. I don't know that he can play, but I think we know that Zappi can be that career backup guy. You can have a nice career as a backup quarterback, and who knows? Maybe you get the call up in a Super Bowl on one fine Sunday in Minneapolis and shock the world and beat the Patriots. I mean, you can do that. That can happen.
Ooh, nice
but
catch, KB.
in terms of the ceiling, I think the ceiling is higher with Trey Lance, and I would have been up for it. What pissed Paul off was the notion that you would have to give up a third-round pick.
Well,
Oh.
and that's strong. But yeah, like people are saying, would you send Zappi and a third-round pick for Lance? Like as an NFL
and a third-round pick.
As an NFL player, Zappi's done more than Lance.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you have to throw a third-round pick in?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Maybe they should throw a third-round pick in. How you like that?
Now, I think they both have a lot to prove. I do. Listen, I'm exactly the way you put it, Mike. if I had a chance to just get Trey Lance, like he's available and I can sign him, and it's
good kid too.
It's it's like March or April, and I can just sign him. I'd love to be able to see if there's anything there and see if you can develop him and
sound like just a mid-round pick.
Like see what was there. But I'm not necessarily interested now of trading something for him. Now, with Dallas, maybe they looked at it as, we've got a chance to get a young guy. Dak's going to have a huge cap number, I think, next year. He's one of the higher-paid guys. Coming off kind of a so-so year for him. Maybe if he has another bad year, you start to wonder, is he not coming back from that injury?
Mm-hmm.
And is he not the same guy? And, maybe 2 years from now, with a whole year in the Dallas system, maybe Trey Lance is ready to compete. Who knows?
Yeah, and Jared just loves it.
Jared.
Getting Trey Lance.
Where are my quarterbacks?
Yeah.
There's my Johnny Walker.
So they're sending a 4th-round pick to the 49ers for Trey Lance. And not their current backup quarterback?
Right.
Just a 4th-round pick.
So, am I
not
wrong?
even a 3rd-round pick.
No, you couldn't have been more right. You could not have been more right.
I don't think you need to send a backup quarterback and a pick.
Right.
That's beautiful. All right. And by the way, the just back to the Patriots record, should they lose to the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and Cowboys to start the season, look, you look at them maybe winning 1 or 2 of those games with the expectation that, then you can maybe get a win against the Saints.
Yeah.
You can maybe get a win against the Raiders. Because after that, you've got the Bills. You have to go to Miami. But then maybe you can beat the Commanders. If you don't win any of the first 4, that puts into question whether you can get a win against any team. And that's really where things start to fall.
And that's kind of what I was talking about. So you have that gauntlet to start the season. In the last 2 years, after that 4-game gauntlet, you've had 4 or 5 games that were more than winnable. This year, it's a couple of games that are kind of toss-up games with New Orleans in Vegas, and then you got Buffalo and Miami.
Yeah. I thought, you know what, Paul? The thing that got overlooked when the schedule came out, and I'm sure you guys didn't because you did probably a much better job of breaking it down and having
broke it all the way down.
I'm semi-retired.
All the way.
But the Don is semi-retired. The last 4 games to me are the gauntlet, and you could make an argument for the last 6.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the last 4 are Chiefs, in Denver, in Buffalo, and then the Jets. Now, we don't know what the Jets are going to be, but Aaron Rodgers, last time I checked, was still a pretty decent quarterback.
Right.
Yep.
If you count the 2 games before that, Chargers and at Steelers, I don't know what the Steelers are going to be.
They're not going to be easy games.
I think the Chargers are going to be good. So you got Chargers, Steelers, Chiefs, Broncos, Bills, Jets to finish your season. So do you want to talk about an 0-4 start and being able to salvage it when those are your last 6? No.
So it's just they got to start well. I mean, they got to be ready to go. That's the thing. There's no more. We're gonna see how it goes in September, and then we can make it
work out the kinks.
No. I don't think it's going to be an issue though. I think they figure out a way to win certainly 1 and possibly 2 of those first 4, and I think that's a pretty decent accomplishment for this team and this roster and what they're trying to do.
For sure. They're 2-2 after those 4 games. I don't think there'd be too many people in New England that'd be upset.
No. They'd be upset with 1, and you're right. I think realistically, though, you need to prepare yourself for 1 and be happy with 2.
Yeah. Now, when I say that I think people would be happy with 2, that's assuming, you never know how the games unfold.
Right. You got to see it.
Yeah. If you, had a chance to win all 4 and only won 2, I'd be upset.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you, let 2 of them slip
blew
away.
A lead, yeah.
I guess the bigger point there would be maybe we're better than we thought.
No. Grab a couple of calls here. William in Philadelphia. We were just talking about your Eagles there, William, unless you're a Patriots fan. I assume you are. Hello, William.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Good.
All right. I'm a diehard Patriots fan.
Nice.
I can't believe what for another season. Oh God, Bill, Jesus. Okay. I'm so eager to get the Paul, Evans, Juice, whoever. I don't even care at this point.
Okay.
I'm just very eager.
All right.
I am very shocked that Bill had let this offensive line go the way it is. If that was one thing I could say that was good about Bill, he always had a good offensive line. And here we are right now, getting ready for week 1. to go against the Philadelphia Eagles? Are you really playing this game, sitting around and not getting on the phone, making deals or trades or something? Try to give Mac a tackle, whatnot. I just don't get this. He wouldn't do this to Tom Brady. So why are you doing this to Mac?
Some people would argue we did it to Tom Brady for 20 years.
Well, yeah. I mean, Brady did have decent lines, but it wasn't.
Brandon Gorin and Tom Ashworth.
Not every year.
But that's
season.
the majority of the years. I think a lot of people who bash Bill, that's what they would bash him for. Is they never, 2007 was sort of an anomaly where they went out and got Randy Moss and Wes Welker and they said, "Hey, let's go." We're gonna load it up.
But I think
more often than not, they had undrafted rookies like Ryan Wendell and Dan Conley, Joe Andruzzi. Those were the offensive linemen, and they would just kind of have.
But at least you had a couple of guys, a couple of veterans that you could count on, or a couple of
Mankins,
Vollmer, somebody up there. It's like, okay, we can rely on these guys. Who's the reliable offensive lineman other than your center?
Yeah, Andrews and
Andrews. Ain't none.
And Owenu.
Ain't none.
Yeah.
Yes, there are.
Ain't none, bro.
But there are. I'm going to push back on that. Andrews and Owenu are good offensive linemen.
Yeah.
I think there's more talent there than you're giving credit for.
What?
I think Andrews and Owenu are good. I mean, is that a controversial
take? It's 40% of the line.
Is that a controversial take?
It's not.
I don't mean to be like Johnny Homer here.
You can still hate the line and still like those guys.
Right. I mean, you can say there's questions at tackle and still say they have two good offensive linemen.
Yes.
This is what I don't understand. And why do y'all protect Bill?
I'm not protecting Bill.
Everything.
I
don't understand.
I can't win. I can't win for losing.
Can't do no wrong in nobody's eyes.
William, we are with you on your tackle argument. We just don't agree that David Andrews and Owenu are scrubs. They're good players.
I think they should have drafted a tackle early in this past draft.
I agree.
Yes.
I'm with you on that argument.
I do. I'm not defending Bill for that.
We all thought they would.
Yeah.
I'm not defending Bill on that. I think they should have.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Okay, can we agree with this? Since Tom left and he went and got a Super Bowl, your beloved coach can't even do that. He's still struggling to get the roster together. Can we agree with that? Or you going to fight me on that too?
No, William, you're.
No, I'm not going to fight you on the fact that they're not as good without Tom Brady. No.
And I'll tell you, and William, I'm sorry, we got to grab one more call before we do our over-unders. Thanks for the call. I will say this. For anybody who is not willing to concede the obvious, which is, was it Brady or was it Belichick? It was both. But if you are forced to choose between the two, that battle has been won, and short of winning a Super Bowl with someone else, Bill can never win that argument. For people who insist on choosing one or the other, was it Brady or was it Bill who won all those Super Bowls? Brady won that argument. For the people who will not concede, it was the combination.
Yeah, well, I just think the guys that are on the field probably should get the majority of the credit, regardless of Montana and Bill Walsh or any of the other great combinations. And I mean, that's just how it is.
I agree with that.
Of course,
find me one great team where you're like, yeah, the quarterback was all right, but it was really the coach.
Players make systems.
Of course, but you're talking about New England, where "in Bill we trust" has become a household phrase that everybody knows.
I know.
You're swimming against.
And I'm going to be in
here.
full disclosure here. In the midst of it, I was one of those guys. I thought it was more Bill. I was wrong. I think it was more Tom.
Idiot. How could you ever think that? I thought you knew.
Idiot.
I thought you knew sports, man.
I thought
I did. I also I want to push back a little bit on I think you can appreciate Bill Belichick as a head coach without feeling the need to say that it was all him that did it. You can appreciate him and what he did and still give him the proper credit that he deserves without saying that, But Tom was on the field. Tom executed the plays at the end.
I'm just pushing back on how different it is. I don't think I think Bill has constructed his team in a very consistent manner for the vast majority of these years. It worked when 12 was here. It's not working now. I'm telling you, I could rattle Greg Robinson-Randall, Brandon Gorin, Tom Ashworth. They had Nick Kazher. They had average tackles, average offensive linemen. Yeah, they had Logan Mankins. like now, they had a really good lineman or two, and then 2 or 3 others that Dan Conley, Ryan Wendell, like just plug them in. Remember the year they went through 4 centers? Nick McDonald, remember that name?
Oh, my
That's
God.
a good one. That's a good one.
Like, it worked because of 12.
Yeah.
Like, that's the part I missed.
Yeah.
That's the part I look back at, and I was wrong.
Also know that he comes from a coaching perspective. When Paul and I walked off the golf course earlier today, a guy comes up to him and says, "Coach?"
Oh?
A guy that Paul coached in baseball.
Oh, really?
31 years ago.
It was probably 94.
They haven't seen each other. Okay, 29 years ago. They haven't seen each other. Have you seen him since?
Probably not.
No,
maybe once or twice, but not certainly in the last 25 years.
Fell into that old shorthand speak back and forth. Oh my God! All this back and forth to the point where I said, "I'm going to go now because it's raining."
Yeah, right.
I'm going to at least stand it over here under the.
You
eaves.
enjoyed that.
So
you just mischaracterized that. You got a kick out of that.
I wish I had anyone come up to me and look up to me the way that
You really
now
thought so?
Man.
That makes me feel good. You really thought that?
I thought he still looked at Paul. This guy was like now in his 40s, a successful banker guy.
Oh.
He always wanted to be a banker. And he's looking up to Paul and like talking to him like he was still like in charge of
I
him.
thought you were going to say Paul was disappointed because he thought it was one of his fans. And
No.
he's like, "Oh, it's a kid I coach."
It
Forget it. I thought it was one of my super
No,
fans.
I actually, and believe it or not, and Hardy was even impressed. He's like, like, I can't believe you remembered him. I was like, no, I was looking, and then I heard his voice.
Yeah.
I was
He
like,
recognized the guy's voice.
It's like 30. He's like,
well, I
just a
saw
boy
him
before.
like when we walked by and we said hi, and then I heard him, and then I looked, and I was like, I look, and I put it together like as I heard the voice.
He came up to Paul,
And he
though.
did.
He recognized Paul first.
He did.
That happens a lot to Paul.
Well,
Probably happens
Eldred.
to you a lot too.
Nah.
Well,
Hey, fellas, how y'all
I was in
today?
Hardy's element today.
Eldred, what's going on, my man?
Then just looking for an interesting game. But I feel Williams' pain. And Paul, I agree with you with those with Andrew or Connolly and all them. I'll take them right now over the line we got now besides the Win-U and
Yeah,
Andrew.
but would they
I'll
see
take
my
them right now.
my point that
That's where
I think
all
we
of-
all overlook is we all look at those guys and we say, "Oh yeah, I'll take them. I'll take them." Well, will we take them, or did Brady make them look better than they were?
Brady made this is a little bit of both, but mainly
You know what I
Brady
mean?
made it look better than one.
Yeah.
Brady is Brady, and I've been saying that from day one. When Deuce used to get mad at me all the time. Hey Deuce,
Yeah.
do you like the record without Brady gone now? You
No.
still like it?
No. How do you like it? We're all experiencing it
love you,
together.
I'm gonna keep throwing rocks at you, bro. I told you, it's always Brady, and I'm a diehard Brady fan. I love Bill as a coach. GM, I can't stand his guts.
Oh,
I can't.
all right.
Where you do it, where you get the roster, I just can't do it.
Hush.
I've been saying it for 15 years, right, Paul?
You have.
You're consistent.
You've hated everything and everyone for 15 years. I agree.
Yeah, but I'm looking. I hope they do play Matt Jones. At least play the starters a little bit.
I don't think they're going
Because
to.
I know he got. I know, but don't you think they need to work a little bit?
I do think that they could use a little work.
Yeah, they could, but they need health more than anything.
Like, is it
Eldred, so.
necessity? Probably not. I would agree
No,
with you guys.
no,
But
figure it out on your own time, even though we have to watch this thing tonight. Eldred, keep her between the lines, my man.
Whoa.
Oh, I'm going to do that. Y'all have a good one.
All right,
Later.
thank you. All right, that's trucker talk.
No, I get it.
Did
the
you?
sensor goes off though when you go outside the lines. It does.
What for Eldred?
Yeah.
Eldred doesn't need sensors.
I said, but it will. It goes off if you veer.
I don't know that he
Veer.
has sensors.
Okay.
He's a professional truck driver.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just
Eldred.
because he doesn't need the sensors doesn't mean
He can turn them off in his
you
cab.
can take the reservation. You just can't keep the reservation.
Erica in Virginia, our final call of the pregame. What's up, Erica?
Hey, guys, always a pleasure. Thanks for squeezing me in.
Of course.
Quick question about the O-line. Who was it? Paul, were you team Owinu and Andrews? Is it?
Yeah, I think they're good players,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Oh, and I'm with you on that, 100%. However, are we going to leave Strange out of that? Because I feel like he worked better with Andrews versus Frentz for the rest of the season.
Not yet. I'm not putting him in there yet.
Yeah, I don't put
mean,
Strange in there yet because, and I'm just judging this off of Bill.
Yeah.
Bill took him off the field 3 different occasions last year, healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he struggled a little bit as a rookie. I expect him to be better this year. And I agree with you, Erica. He was better when he was with David Andrews, which tells me he needs the help.
Right.
All right, Erica?
Did you let Erica go? Or
I
she
did
just
not.
dropped?
She hung up on her own.
Okay. No.
She knew that we have to get to the over-unders.
Okay.
It's time for this week's edition of Over-Unders.
You're over me? When were you under me?
I got a real problem with the standings here.
What happened? Oh.
Because last week's game didn't even finish, so how can we have, like, full numbers from last week?
You go with what you have.
Oh, it's unbelievable. All right, go ahead. Rattle them off.
All right, last
Rattle 'em
week,
off.
Mike 4-2, Paul 5-1, Hardy 3-3, bringing the season totals to Mike and Paul 9-3 preseason totals, and Hardy 7-5.
Are we gonna? I know
these wipe out.
Okay,
These wipe out. Yes.
All right, I ask every
Oh.
year, 5 years now. I
So-
just want to make sure.
Go
All right, so I'll take a run at it tonight. Just, spoiler alert: I may pick the opposite just for sport.
Ah.
I'd never do
So
that.
this is going to be different. Okay?
Yes, I never do
I got
that,
it.
but I might have to do it tonight because I got some ground to make up.
All right, Malik Cunningham snaps at quarterback at a half.
Deuce.
I'm gonna go under on that. I think we're trying to get him at receiver now, and they don't want to show any more of him at quarterback.
I would agree with Mike. Under.
Well.
I just thought I'd open the door for you. Yeah, I ruined that.
One-
I should have taken the over just to make him make a decision.
One snap. Okay, but this isn't crazy. One snap at quarterback?
Quarterback.
Yeah. If he gets one snap, I win.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll go over a half.
Total interceptions thrown 3.5.
I'll take the under.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That sounds like a lot in a third preseason game. I have to go under on that one, too.
I'm gonna go over. Pull a Hardy just for a little fun.
Oh my god.
A little fun.
Do you have any reasoning behind it?
The bad quarterbacks are gonna be playing.
Okay, that's pretty good reason.
Total number of Patriots punts 5.5.
5.
No, in a preseason game, you're going to go for it more often than not. So I will go under.
Under. Yeah, I'll go under 2. Why not?
I'll take the over.
Nice. We're going to have blood.
Number of callers that make it on air in the post-game show 7.5.
What is this supposed to mean?
This feels like a
It's
shot.
It feels like a shot.
Late night week 3 preseason game. I don't know how many people are going to be calling in. It's not a shot at you. It's a shot at our callers.
It's a great show that people want to talk to.
Well, whatever we establish as the record tonight, we'll have to keep in mind for that Christmas night.
There we go.
Post-game.
Ho. I'm going to go under.
Oh, is it me?
Yeah.
7.5 callers on air. Over.
Wow. Optimistic.
Yeah. I got to go over on that one, too. That
I
doesn't
feel like
seem...
we have some control over that one, Hardy.
Thank you.
Bill Belichick post-game presser length,
Please
4
applaud.
minutes.
Please call him.
Post-game presser length. I need more information on this one. Whatever is normal post-game.
No.
They usually,
no,
they
you
average 358, so it's tough. It's tough.
Is it me? Again?
It is you.
Yeah, it is you.
I will take the under 4 minutes.
Well, he barely had one last week. I feel like maybe he feels the need to make up for that. So I'm going to go over.
I'm going to go under.
I'm gonna go under.
Yeah.
All right, me and
Yeah.
Mike under.
And the total score 38.5.
Yikes.
Oh.
2017 will be under.
You do some examples to kind of like, it feels like.
Hey, shut up, Deuce. How's that for an example?
If it was like 38-0.
That came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. It was so aggressive.
Under,
10.
under, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go under 2.
Yeah, I'll make it unanimous.
Okay. All right, there you go.
Just a hangover point before you get to your thing. I just would say, talking about Strange, it's like Strange and Thornton, same draft class, similar kind of thing. Like, needed them to take a jump this year. They both got hurt. They both, haven't really found any momentum this summer. And I just think that's one of the disappointing aspects of this summer and that draft class that's not really panning out right now.
I have a hangover point. Tamara was drinking Pedialyte in here.
She loves it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's for hangovers.
No, it's got a lot of electrolytes.
Preventative for hangovers.
Yeah.
Whatever.
She's going to get after it tonight, I guess.
I like the physical
respect
comedy
that.
of the hangover point. Paul, anything else?
No, I think Deuce made a good point there about the draft class, though. I hadn't really thought of that, and it is kind of disappointing. You like to see your young guys, first and second round picks from a year ago, year 2 jump, slow start. I mean, not saying they can't have a year 2 jump, but slow start with the injuries in training camp.
Yep.
All right. Well, kickoff isn't for another half an hour, so we got plenty of time to pull the levers and switch the plugs and everything here on Patriots.com for all the many fine services we provide to you during the actual game. So enjoy those if you can, and if you wish, I wish that
at least
you will
8 of you
now join us for the post-game show.
And make sure you're ready at 8 o'clock for the telecast, too, because you're going to get some good Muppet time.
Are you going on right at 8?
Yeah, we're going on at 8. We're going to talk a little roster stuff.
So I got something in the car for you. Are we going to have to do that after the post-game?
Sure.
All right, we'll do it after the Hey, talk to you during the post-game show. Also, very quickly, Matt, just get this in. Thank you, Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. Great memories are made in Massachusetts, no matter how you choose to make them. Indoors, outdoors, scenic views, city vibes, solo or family style, whatever moves you, whatever the season plan, you're perfect. Massachusetts Getaway at visitma.com.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.